Chapter 97. Concentrated is the essence 1. Disappointed. Lung Ruoxue asked Lu Yan as he came down from the stage. I'm not disappointed. I was prepared for it. Lu Yan smiled calmly. Before he came to the competition, his master had reminded him. So he was prepared for it. This is too much. How can they do this? Elder Chiu said angrily. Elder Chiu, why are you so angry when even Lu Yan isn't angry? Lung Ruoxue said with some amusement while looking at the fuming Elder Chiu. Aren't you angry? Elder Chiu asked. No, I'm not angry. That Lu Qing is the beloved disciple of a vice president of the Alchemist Association. Those judges definitely wouldn't dare to offend him. Moreover, the eyes of the crowd are bright. Everyone knows who the true number 1 is. Why compete for that false reputation? Lung Ruoxue explained. Well, that's true. Elder Chiu said after some thought. Lu Yan, since you've decided to follow me, then you must remember that people with true strength don't need to rely on false reputations to make a name for themselves. Lung Ruoxue said very seriously. Everyone had their own ethics and principles. And this had always been one of her standards in dealing with others. Okay, I will remember, Lu Yan said. This was also what he really admired about Lung Ruoxue. He knew that she had always liked to keep a low profile. Let's go back. Go out through the back. Lung Ruoxue reminded. If Fengda and the others hadn't blocked the way, who knows how many people would have pestered Lu Yan now. Okay. After the alchemist competition ended, the beast trainer competition began the next day. Beast trainers consumed a lot of mental strength to tame spirit beasts, and there were only a few competitors, so there was only one competition for beast trainers. The rule of the beast trainer competition was that whoever teamed the most spirit beasts within the allotted time would be the champion. On the day of the beast trainer competition, Lung Ruoxue and the others accompanied Hu Bin to the competition venue early as usual. Hu Bin was the representative of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy's Beast Trainer Division, and he had been getting along very well with them all along the way. Hu Bin, you can do it. Good luck. Fengda and the others came to the side of the stage to cheer for Hu Bin, who was about to compete. I will do my best, Hu Bin said confidently. His beast trainer skills had improved a lot recently. There were only 12 people participating in the beast trainer competition. Most of the students were at the beast trainer level, and 2 of them were master beast trainers. Hu Bin was the 7th to go on stage. For the first 6 people, the most number of advanced spirit beasts anyone tamed was 5. After Hu Bin went on stage, he tamed 10 advanced spirit beasts easily, 3 of which were level 7, 3 were level 8, and 4 were level 9. This result was already very amazing for beast trainers. After taming 10 advanced spirit beasts, he walked to the cages with the holy beasts. Beast trainers had to be at least a master beast trainer to tame the most elementary holy beasts, so the holy beasts in the cages were only at level 1 or 2. What is he doing? Don't tell me he wants to tame a holy beast? Someone below the stage couldn't help whispering. How is that possible? He's only a beast trainer. How can he tame a holy beast? Is he tired of living? Another person chimed in. Ruoxue, could Hu Bin be thinking of taming a holy beast? Elder Chiu couldn't help asking, his heart in his throat. That's possible. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. This nonsense. A beast trainer wanting to tame a holy beast. Does he want to die? Elder Chiu said angrily. Why are all of them making me worry? The mental strength of a beast trainer was not enough to tame a holy beast, and the consequences of failure would be a backlash. He would either become a fool or lose his life. That old man from the beast trainer division would find trouble with him, regardless of whether Hu Bin became a fool or lost his life. Boo-hoo, these damn children. While Elder Chiu was stomping his feet, Hu Bin had already begun to tame a holy beast. He successfully tamed the holy beast about half an hour later. Elder Chiu looked at the situation on the stage and was so surprised that his jaw almost fell off. He did it. He actually did it. Hu Bin successfully tamed another holy beast before the time limit. Currently, Hu Bin was in first place with 10 advanced spirit beasts and 2 elementary holy beasts. There were another 5 people after him. After finishing his match, Hu Bin walked down from the stage very calmly. Hu Bin, you're not bad, Elder Chiu said happily. Beast trainers had always been the weakest division for their academy. He didn't expect Hu Bin to bring glory to their academy today. Let's see who dares to say that our academy can't produce a beast trainer in the future. It's all thanks to Miss, Hu Bin said shyly. He had also begun addressing Lung Ruoxue as Miss like Fengda, and the others ever since he started following Lung Ruoxue like Lu Yan. Lass, why don't I be your subordinate too? Elder Chiu said flatteringly, and he actually addressed her as Lass instead of Ruoxue. Along the way, Lung Ruoxue had won over his heart, and he had often subconsciously regarded her as their core. He didn't even feel that anything was amiss with it. Let's talk about it when you're free. Lung Ruoxue teased before turning to leave. Tomorrow was the artificer competition, so she had to go back early to prepare. What does this girl mean? Elder Chiu asked in puzzlement as he watched Lung Ruoxue walk away. Don't you understand? You're not free now. Fengda said with a smile, leaving the struggling Elder Chiu behind. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy student was done with this competition anyway, so there was no point in staying. After the Beast Trainer competition ended, Hu Bin might have only come in third, but it was already the best result the Heavenly Phoenix Academy had ever achieved. In the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion, Schwer, what are you thinking about? Yi Chen couldn't help asking curiously when he saw her staring blankly into space in the guest room. I'm thinking about tomorrow's artificer competition, Lung Ruoxue said softly. Are you worried that you won't be able to refine a treasured artifact? Yi Chen said with a chuckle. Chapter 98. Concentrated is the essence too. Yeah. Lung Ruoxue was a little depressed. Artificing was the same as alchemy. The flames used were the fire attribute of the Bodhi's natal flame. But the natal flame also had levels, mainly divided into the grades of earth, heaven and divine. The natal flame in her body was a divine grade flame. The purity of the divine grade flame was very high, so the quality of the equipment refined was also the highest. And tomorrow's competition was the same as the alchemist competition. There was a round of basic skill assessment, but now even the equipment she casually refined was a sacred artifact. Alas, it seems like you'll have to forfeit the first round tomorrow. If you can't refine it, so be it. Stop thinking about it and rest early. Yi Chen said. He didn't want Schwer to be upset over such a trivial matter. Okay, I'm going to bed. Hurry up and go. The top 20 academies had representatives to participate in the artificer competition. The rules of the competition were similar to the ones of the alchemist competition, but because of the uniqueness of artificing, only 2 rounds would be held, and the judges finalized the winner. On the day of the competition, Lung Ruoxue walked into the venue under the crowd's escort. The audience was surprised when they saw that it was Lung Ruoxue participating in the competition. Lung Ruoxue's performance in the team competition was really too breathtaking. People were amazed. A powerful spiritualist coupled with the noble status of an artificer. Is this still possible? Hey, what's the matter? An audience member asked the person next to him in a low voice. Many people were stunned when they saw the girl. She was really too beautiful. That girl is the champion of the team competition. I didn't expect her to be an artificer. This is too shocking. An audience member who knew the situation explained. Really? Are you sure? Someone asked doubtfully. Of course. I watched the team competition. The person said proudly. The team competition isn't open to ordinary people. How did you get in? Another person asked with a puzzled face. Of course. It's none of your business. The person roared in anger. The host took the lead to go on stage. Everyone, please be quiet. The competition is about to begin. Now let us welcome the participating artificers onto the stage. The moment the host finished speaking, the competitors walked onto the stage in an orderly manner, found their place, and began preparing. After the judges gave the order, the already prepared artificers began to focus on artificing. Every artificer carefully followed the steps and threw the materials into the furnace in order. But only Lung Ruoxue didn't do anything. What's wrong with this girl? Why isn't she moving? Elder Chiu asked in bewilderment. Elder Chiu, do you think that person is Song Min? Fengda deliberately averted Elder Chiu's gaze. Where? It is her. Damn it. She's actually representing the Lunar Shadow Academy in the competition. Elder Chio's face twisted in anger when he saw the school badge on Song-min. What is she trying to do? Elder Chio, Song-min obviously isn't a good person. And you still treat her as a treasure. Lin Yuan said disdainfully. Well, she's the most qualified student in our artificer division after all. It's normal to treat her better than the other students. Elder Chio wiped the sweat off his forehead. Our young lady said that aptitude and whatnot aren't important. Character is the most important, Lin Yuan said. He increasingly understood how reasonable the words of his young lady were after being together with her for a long time. That girl is a monster. Elder Chio couldn't help saying. What? Can't refine anything? Do you think anyone can be an artificer? Song-min, who had completed her refinement, looked at Lung Ruoxue with some jealousy and provoked her. She was an artificer with a heaven-grade natal flame and a boundless future. How could a simpleton compare to her? I don't need you to worry about me. Just take care of yourself, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. She didn't even have the desire to attack such a clown. I'm just being nice, yet you don't appreciate it, Song-min said aggrievedly. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Why do these people like acting so much? Aren't they tired? You're still a student of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, aren't you? But you're actually representing the Lunar Shadow Academy in the competition, Lung Ruoxue said mockingly. She originally didn't want to bother with her, but she just had to cause trouble. So why should she be polite then? I'm no longer a student of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, Song-min said nonchalantly. Is that up to you? Have you completed the procedures? Lung Ruoxue asked. The academies had a consensus on student management in order to prevent students from being poached by other academies. Students who had not completed any withdrawal procedures were still considered students of the academy. Do I need to worry about such a small matter? Someone will arrange it for me, Song-min said proudly. The Lunar Shadow Academy treated her much better than the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, which greatly satisfied her vanity. Then I wish you success, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently, and then ignored her. After the first round ended, Song-min came in second. The first was Wang Wei, the artificing genius of the Rising Dragon Institute. Lung Ruoxue was last because she didn't refine the required equipment. The artificer could choose the equipment they were good at and refine it for the second round. The second round of the competition just began, and the participating students already seized the time to smelt the materials. Artificing and alchemy were different. Most of the materials used for artificing were very hard, so the time to melt them was relatively long. Moreover, it had to be purified after melting, and then it had to be molded and tempered. The steps were more complicated than alchemy, and the time taken was also longer. While the others were smelting materials, Lung Ruoxue was not in a hurry to start. She was thinking about the equipment she wanted to refine. After deciding, Lung Ruoxue began to work. She first lit the furnace fire, and then threw the materials into the furnace one by one. After the materials melted into liquid, she removed the impurities and purified them. After condensing the liquid into the size of a baby's fist, she began to shape it according to her imagination, and finally tempered it. Although Lung Ruoxue was the last to start, she was the first to finish. After she completed the last step, the people below the stage could finally see clearly that she was holding a palm-sized man's clothing and pants. The clothing might be small, but the style was novel, and it was in a style they had never seen before. But could such a small piece of clothing be worn? The people below the stage couldn't help being a little puzzled. Chapter 99. Concentrated is the essence 3. Lung Ruoxue looked at the clothes in her hand with satisfaction. They should be regarded as battle armor, but she had refined it into leisure wear. As for the grade, it was naturally a sacred artifact. An inconspicuous old man on the judging panel looked at Lung Ruoxue with bright eyes, as if he wanted to swallow her alive. The legendary divine flame. The old man never dreamed that he would actually see the legendary flame. You had to know that flames were crucial for artificers and alchemists. The higher the level of the flame, the higher the quality of the refined equipment or concocted pills. Therefore, the level of the battle armor was definitely not low. But what was even more unexpected was that someone actually knew the legendary divine refining technique. You had to know that ordinary refining techniques were not able to refine battle armor and other equipment of such a small size. Only the legendary divine refining technique could do so. The divine refining technique. He had only heard it from his master, so no one else on the Lingfeng continent knew about it except him. The legendary divine flame. The legendary divine refining technique. Who exactly is this girl? Her talent really makes it so that people can't even be jealous of her. Is this what you refined? That's right. A tiny flame like yours is only enough to refine such a small thing. Songmin walked to Lung Ruoxue and mocked her. She almost laughed when she saw the flame that wasn't even as big as a fingernail in Lung Ruoxue's hand. How can such a small flame refine artifacts? What is concentrated is the essence. It would be a waste of the flame if I used any more than necessary, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. You sure are frugal. But if the judges don't like this thing you refined, you will really be at the bottom. Songmin gloated. She would be happy to see Lung Ruoxue make a fool of herself. You're not a judge. How can you be sure that the judging panel won't take a liking to it? Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. She really didn't care about the rankings. She knew very well what her standard was, and she didn't need others to evaluate her. Well, see. Songmin said angrily and returned to her spot. Schwer, what did you refine? Armor? Feng Moran asked curiously when he saw Lung Ruoxue coming down from the stage. Yes, armor, Lung Ruoxue said. Lass, everyone is waiting for the results on stage. Why did you come down? Elder Chiu asked worriedly when he saw only Lung Ruoxue coming down the stage. Ruoxue's behavior would be regarded as rude by the proud judges, and the results wouldn't be good for Ruoxue then. I'm tired. I'm going back to rest. Remember to help me get my armor back. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Elder Chiu. She knew that this old man would never leave before the results were out. Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. I'm going to sleep. Don't disturb me if there's nothing important, Lung Ruoxue said to Freak before entering the room. Yes, I know. I'm sorry, everyone. My young lady is resting and will not entertain guests. Feng De blocked the door of Lung Ruoxue's room while speaking to the people who wanted to see his young lady. Why are these people so annoying? I said that she wouldn't entertain guests. But not only aren't they leaving, but they actually want to force their way in. What's going on outside? Why is it so noisy? Lung Ruoxue opened her eyes in displeasure in the room. She hated being disturbed while sleeping. Master, a lot of people are outside, said Charm, who had been lying in Lung Ruoxue's arms. Go and see who they are. Lung Ruoxue said angrily. Upon hearing this, Charm transformed into a ray of white light and left the room. He returned in no time. People from the Artificer Association and prominent families want to see you, Charm explained. Why do they want to see me? Lung Ruoxue said impatiently. Schwer, you're awake? Lung Ruhan knocked on the door softly and walked in. Schwer, the people from the Artificer Association want to see you, Lung Ruhan said. They had sent away the people from the prominent families, but the people from the Artificer Association were unwilling to leave. No, I want to sleep, Lung Ruoxue said willfully. I just want to sleep. Boohoo. Why is it so difficult to get some sleep? Schwer, Grandpa said that it's best not to offend people from the Artificer Association, Lung Ruhan said. He knew that Schwer had no plans to join the Artificer Association, but the status of the Artificer Association was extraordinary, so it was only right to befriend them if possible. All right then, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. In fact, she was very clear about the purpose of the Artificer Association and didn't want to have any contact with its people. After getting up, Lung Ruoxue washed up, walked out of the room, and went straight to the reception room. When Lung Ruoxue entered the reception room, she saw an ordinary-looking thin old man sitting beside her grandfather and chatting with him. Two middle-aged men were standing behind the old man. Grandpa, Schwer is here. Schwer, this old gentleman is the representative of the Artificer Association, Lung Qingtian introduced. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Lung Ruoxue said courteously. She knew this old man. He was one of the judges of the Artificer competition. It's okay. I know you've all been exhausted these days. the old man said amiably, without any displeasure on his face. I'm Lung Ruoxue. May I know your good name? Little girl, am I that old? I really like you, little girl. I want to be good friends with you. I don't know if you're willing to give me some face? The old man said pitifully. Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Is this old man being coquettish? She wasn't the only one. Lung Qingtian and the two middle-aged men behind the old man were also embarrassed. Little girl, I'll take your silence as consent, the old man said cunningly, his eyes flashing rapidly. Lung Ruoxue nodded helplessly. It seemed like this old man was planning to rely on her. But she was not afraid of whatever his motive was. Come and greet your junior aunt, you two brats, the old man hollered. Greetings, junior aunt, the two middle-aged men said obediently. Chapter 100. Concentrated is the essence for. Lung Ruoxue was flabbergasted. Junior aunt. How did I become a junior aunt? Elderly. Don't call me elderly. Just call me Old Man Zhao, the old man protested. All right then, Old Man Zhao. I'm not their junior aunt. Lung Ruoxue said. This old man's identity was a mystery, and she really didn't want to have too much involvement with him. Why aren't you? We're on par. And they're my disciples, so of course they have to call you junior aunt. The old man said very matter-of-factly. Lung Ruoxue was really speechless about the old man's thoughts. Must this old man insist on being related to me? Junior aunt, please take care of us in the future, the two middle-aged men said tactfully. Following whatever their master said would definitely not go wrong. Don't these two people have no opinions at all at such an age? Why are they so obedient to their master? Lung Ruoxue was helpless. In fact, this was something Lung Ruoxue didn't know. The master-disciple relationship in this world was more intimate in certain aspects than blood relations, especially for special professions such as artificers, alchemists, and beast trainers. Lung Ruoxue sized up the three of them. She couldn't tell the level of the old man, but these two disciples were elementary spiritual monarchs with ordinary aptitude. After some thought, Lung Ruoxue took out 2 remolding pills. These are 2 remolding pills. I'll give them to you, Lung Ruoxue said. She originally didn't want to give them any gifts, but now that these 2 middle-aged men were calling her junior aunt, she felt strange if she didn't express her gratitude. They're from your junior aunt. Hurry and put them away, the old man hollered. Thank you, junior aunt. The two of them hesitated and obediently took the pills from Lung Ruoxue's hand. In fact, they didn't want them at first. After all, remolding pills weren't precious pills, and the effects after use were very ordinary. Moreover, with their status, they could obtain any pill they wanted, so they didn't take this small remolding pill seriously at all. But they dared not disobey their master's words. Lung Ruoxue could naturally tell that they didn't care about the remolding pills. But she didn't mind because she knew very well that remolding pills were of little value to most. Moreover, this was the normal reaction of people. She would really be disgusted if they pretended to be grateful, when they obviously didn't care about them. Lass, you still have to compete the day after tomorrow, so I won't bother you anymore. Take this. If you have any issues in the future, feel free to look for these 2 brats in the Artificer Association to help you. The old man threw Lung Ruoxue a black badge and left. Farewell, great General Lung and junior aunt. The 2 middle-aged men left with their master. Grandpa, who are they? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. She still didn't know the identities of these 3 people. Grandpa doesn't know either. They only said that they are from the Artificer Association, Lung Qingtian said. The Artificer Association had always kept a low profile, so he didn't know much about its people. Grandpa, is Elder Qiu back? Yes. He went into his room as soon as he returned, Lung Qingtian said. I'm going to look for Elder Qiu. Master, why didn't we invite Lung Ruoxue to join the Artificer Association? A middle-aged man couldn't help asking after they left the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Our Artificer Association is too small to accommodate her, the old man said with emotion. Master, you are? When you see her in the future, you must show her as much respect as you show your master. Also, take the 2 pills she gave you when you go back. There might be a miracle. The old man interrupted his disciple and half-ordered them. He believed in his eyesight. That girl might become their benefactor in the future. Yes, master. Although they were skeptical of Lung Ruoxia's strength, they firmly believed and even blindly worshipped their master. Elder Qiu. Lung Ruoxia came to the door of Elder Qiu's room and knocked. But there was no response for a long time. The door suddenly opened just as Lung Ruoxia was about to leave. Elder Qiu, did you get my armor back? Lung Ruoxia asked as she walked into the room. I brought it back, Elder Qiu said. Give it to me. Here. Elder Qiu had reluctantly examined it for a long time. But he couldn't figure out anything about this armor. So he handed it to Lung Ruoxia. Lass, I almost lost my old life for this armor. Shouldn't you compensate me? Elder Qiu said expectantly. Elder Qiu, what does this have to do with your life? Lung Ruoxia asked in puzzlement. It's all because of your armor. You became the champion of the artificer competition with this armor. Do you know how chaotic the scene was? Many academies asked the judges to give an explanation, and the scene was only controlled when the judges said that your armor was the highest grade equipment refined in this competition. Elder Qiu relayed the grand scene to Lung Ruoxia. Oh, did they mention the grade? Lung Ruoxia asked casually. No. Oh right, Ruoxia, is this armor a spirit artifact? Elder Qiu asked curiously. Apart from Lung Ruoxia's armor, the highest grade of equipment refined at that time was a long saber of the treasured artifact grade. So he guessed that the armor should be a spirit artifact. Spirit artifact? Only a master artificer can refine one. Elder Qiu, what do you plan on doing about Song Min? Lung Ruoxia changed the topic. Her results were disqualified. Elder Qiu said happily. Was her identity exposed? Lung Ruoxia asked. How did you know? This girl is really shrewd. She wasn't even there at the time, yet she could guess it. Why else would her results be disqualified? With her strength, it shouldn't have been a problem for her to get into the top 3. Lung Ruoxia said objectively. She was originally 3rd, but the Flying Bird Academy exposed her identity as a student of our academy, who participated in the competition for the Lunar Shadow Academy. So she was stripped of her ranking. Elder Qiu explained gloatingly. Chapter 101. Concentrated is the essence 5. Oh, Elder Qiu, there's still a competition the day after tomorrow. I'm going back to my room first. Lung Ruoxia said after they chatted for a while. Ruoxia, rest early. Elder Qiu said thoughtfully. Big brother. Lung Ruoxia came straight to Lung Ruhan's room, after exiting Elder Qiu's room. Schwer, why aren't you asleep yet? Lung Ruhan asked. Big brother isn't sleeping either. Big brother, this is for you. Lung Ruoxia took out the armor she had refined in the competition, and handed it to Lung Ruhan. When she refined it, she had custom-made it for her brother. For me. Lung Ruhan was obviously surprised. Who do you think I refined it for if not you, big brother? Lung Ruoxia said mischievously. I thought it was for Yi Chun. Lung Ruhan said. Big brother, I custom-made this for you. It's only suitable for big brother. Just recognize it as yours. Lung Ruoxia explained and handed the casual-style armor to Lung Ruhan. Schwer, thanks. Lung Ruhan gently embraced his sister. Big brother, don't be so polite with Schwer. Otherwise I will be angry. Lung Ruoxia deliberately scowled. Okay, I won't be saying thank you to Schwer anymore, Lung Ruhan said lovingly. That's right. Big brother. I'm going back to my room to sleep. Rest early, Lung Ruoxia said. Okay. Why are you here? Lung Ruoxia returned to her room and saw Yi Chun in it. Schwer, you're being biased. I want one too. Yi Chun complained aggrievedly, his pitch-black eyes glittering. Lung Ruoxia was at a loss for words. What is Freak doing? Is he going to cry? What do you want? Lung Ruoxia pretended to be confused. Battle armor. I want one too, Yi Chun said with jealousy. Although Lung Ruhan was Schwer's elder brother, it didn't mean that he wouldn't be jealous. I'll refine one for you when I have time, Lung Ruoxia said helplessly. That's more like it. Yi Chun smiled lightly when he saw that he achieved his goal. I remember saying that you're not allowed to smile, Lung Ruoxia suddenly said. No woman could resist the heaven-shaking smile of Freak, except her of course. There are no outsiders here, Yi Chun said nonchalantly. How resistant can this little thing be? Can't she be love-struck? After Yi Chen left her room, she flashed directly into the heaven and earth bracelet. Little Feng Feng Blaze, and the 3 little white tigers pounced onto her. She looked helplessly at the few little things struggling to climb onto her body. Then she bent down and directly picked up the fluffy little fellows. Big sister, Feng Feng missed you so much, the little silver wolf, who had already grown up quite a bit, said tenderly. Big sister, Blaze missed you too, Blaze said, unwilling to be outdone. And us, big sister. The 3 little white tigers didn't want to be ignored either. I know. Big sister missed you too. You weren't naughty, were you? Lung Ruoxua asked. She had spent a lot less time in the heaven and earth bracelet since the start of the competition. Big sister. Qingju appeared in front of Lung Ruoxua. Okay, play by yourselves. Big sister is going to cultivate. She had been cultivating the 2nd level of the heaven-defying art, but there were no signs of a breakthrough yet. Lung Ruoxua walked into the purple bamboo hut and went to see baby first. He was sleeping as usual. Then she entered the cultivation room and quietly cultivated. When Lung Ruoxua emerged from the heaven and earth bracelet, it was already night the next day. Fortunately, she had told Freak in advance that she wanted to cultivate, or they would have died of anxiety. After coming out, Lung Ruoxua went directly to the reception room arranged for the Heavenly Phoenix Academy by the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Everyone happened to be here. Schwer, Lung Qingtian, was the first to see his granddaughter. Grandpa, what are you talking about? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. Elder Chiu is arranging tomorrow's tactics for them, Lung Qingtian said. Isn't it the individual competition tomorrow? Lung Ruoxua said. Strength in the individual competition was the most important, and secondly, it depended on performance on the spot. Yes, Ruoxua. I'm telling them about the accidents that might happen, Elder Chiu said. Accidents referring to dark horses? Lung Ruoxua guessed. How do you know? Elder Chiu asked in surprise. What other accidents can there be? Poisoned by others before the match? Lung Ruoxua teased. Elder Chiu stared at Lung Ruoxua in disbelief. How do you know? This girl is amazing. Really? Lung Ruoxua was a little surprised. But on second thought she understood. The individual competition was much more important to these students than the group competition. After all, in addition to their ranking and honor, more importantly, the individual competitions determined their future and their status in their families. So it was not strange that they would take it so seriously. It happened before. But later on, the major academies became more vigilant to prevent similar things from happening again, Elder Chiu explained. Oh right. Lass, you still don't know the rules of the individual competition, right? Elder Chiu said again. Yes. Lung Ruoxua nodded. The individual competition will begin tomorrow, and will last for 12 days. There will be a total of 300 students participating in it. The first 2 days are the preliminaries. There will be 2 rounds each day. The students will each fight against each other, and the winner will advance. After the 2 days of preliminaries, 19 students will advance to the semifinals. However, on the 2nd day of the preliminaries, there will be a lucky student who will advance directly to the semifinals on the 3rd day. The finals will use a round-robin system with 5 matches per day for a period of 9 days. Of course, there will be breaks arranged during the competition. However, this is roughly the process, Elder Chiu explained. Schwer, the individual competition each time is rather tragic, so you must be on high alert, Lung Ruhan reminded. Don't worry, big brother, Lung Ruoxua promised. Everyone should be clear now. Go back to your rooms and rest early, Elder Chiu urged. On the morning of the 1st day of the preliminaries, Lung Ruoxua and the others arrived early at the competition venue of the Lunar Shadow Academy. They drew numbers again, and then sat in their seats to wait for their turn. Chapter 102. Concentrated is the Essence 6. It's you. A girl from the Rising Dragon Institute walked up to Lung Ruoxua. Schwer, do you know her? Feng Moran, who was sitting beside Lung Ruoxua, asked softly. The woman's gaze was very unfriendly. No. How dare you say you don't know me? I am Shimenya, princess of the Northern Frost Empire. The girl named Shimenya roared, her beautiful face distorted in intense anger. What can I do about it? This young lady is very busy. I don't have time to remember any random person, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. In fact, she recognized this woman as soon as she walked over. But she just didn't want to bother with her. You. Shimenya was so angry that she couldn't find her words. It's my turn. Lung Ruoxue ignored the fuming Shimenya and walked toward the stage. Lung Ruoxue's opponent was a student from the Flying Bird Academy. After she went on stage, she defeated her opponent in merely one move. She really didn't feel a sense of accomplishment from ending the battle so quickly. The other students of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy didn't meet any strong opponents in the first round of the preliminaries, so everyone won very easily. After the preliminaries and semifinals were over, the list of the top 10 students was out. Lung Ruoxue, Yichen Feng Moran, Mu Li Fengda, and Lin Yuan were all on the list. The other four were Huaqing, Xiao Yi, and Pang Sun from the Lunar Shadow Academy, and Di Fei from the Flying Bird Academy. Lung Ruoxue was luckier, because she had directly advanced to the semifinals on the second day of the preliminaries. Tell me, what did you do? Shimenya walked to Lung Ruoxue and said with a face full of anger. How can this hateful woman be so lucky? I am Northern Frost's most favored princess. This luck should be mine. Lung Ruoxue looked at Shimenya, as though she was looking at an idiot, and then said to Yi Chun and the others, let's go back to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Okay. Stop right there. How dare you? Shimenya's beautiful face looked a little ferocious because of her anger. How dare these people ignore me? They must be tired of living. Unfortunately, Lung Ruoxue and the others ignored her no matter how she shouted from behind. Oh, there's actually a day when our princess is ignored. Shui Shinran walked over from afar and said mockingly. She was very happy to see Shimenya being ignored. She hated this arrogant and self-righteous princess, even more than she hated Lung Ruoxue. How dare she compete with me for my big brother Qing? She's really overestimating herself. Shui Shinran, with Lung Ruoxue around, can you still be the number one beauty? Shimenya retaliated, unwilling to be outdone. For a woman who cared so much about her appearance, the blow of the sudden appearance of a woman more beautiful than herself was absolutely unbearable. This was also one of the main reasons why she hated Shui Shinran and Lung Ruoxue. As for the other main reason, of course it was men. You don't have to worry about that. Even if I can't become the number one beauty, my rank will still be ahead of yours, Shui Shinran said through clenched teeth. Damn woman. Are you done bickering? Huaqing walked over with a stern face. Big brother Qing. After seeing Huaqing, the two mutually hostile women immediately became well-behaved. What a disgrace. Huaqing said coldly, and left without looking back. Big brother Qing, wait for me, the two women said in unison. They glared at each other as they spoke, and then chased after Huaqing. After the semifinals, there would be 2 days to rest. Because the competition was almost over, the students of the other academies had basically returned to their academies, except for the top 10 academies. Only one elder from each academy stayed behind, as the representative, to watch the competition. After returning to the Elegant Lagoon Pavilion, Lung Ruoxue and the others returned to their rooms to rest. Many families had wanted to see them during this period, but she had asked Elder Chiu to stop them. Moreover, there were regulations during the academy competition that the various prominent families were not allowed to harass the students and affect the competition. It was precisely because of this rigid rule that these families became much more well-behaved. But there were also some who didn't abide by the rule. The first thing Lung Ruoxue did after returning to her room was to have a good night's sleep. After waking up, she went to the restaurant downstairs to have breakfast. She had just started to order when Yi Chun and Big Brother Feng came down together. Schwer, we thought you were still asleep, Feng Moran said. They were already used to Schwer's hobby of sleeping. I just woke up, Lung Ruoxue said. She actually slept all the way to the next day, and it was almost noon. I want the same thing she ordered, Yi Chun said to the waiter. Me too, Feng Moran said. Can we sit together? Huaqing and a few others walked downstairs and saw Lung Ruoxue and the other two. Can I say no? Lung Ruoxue was a little annoyed. Why are there always women at Huaqing's side? This time, He actually brought two, Shui Xinran and Ximenya. These two women just happened to be very hostile to her. Eating was originally a very happy and satisfying thing. But who could still eat with such unpleasant people around? Young Master Hua, our table can't fit so many people, Feng Moran said politely. Ordinary people would find an excuse to leave when they heard him decline so tactfully. But he obviously underestimated Hua Qing's thick skin. It's okay. Just set up another table, Hua Qing said nonchalantly, and called the innkeeper over. In fact, he didn't know why he wanted to be here. But he knew very well that Lung Ruoxia's direct refusal displeased him greatly. The innkeeper quickly arranged for people to arrange two tables together. Hua Qing sat opposite Lung Ruoxia, with Shui Xinran and Ximenya sitting on his sides. On Shui Zimran's left side was Feng Moran, and on Ximenya's right was Yi Chen. Ximenya saw the men she liked sitting on her left and right sides, and was so happy that she was about to fly to the moon. But her beautiful dream was quickly broken. Move aside. This is my seat. Feng De brought a chair over, placed it between Yi Chen and Ximenya, and sat down despite the crowd. Deputy Leader Yi is our young lattice man. How dare this woman covet him? She must be tired of living. Chapter 103. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 1. On another side, Ling Yuan also took a chair and placed it between Shui Xinran and Feng Moran. Shui Xinran glared at Lin Yuan with dissatisfaction, and moved over a little reluctantly. Lin Yuan sat down. Why, you barbarian, how can you be so rude? Ximenya roared angrily, and grudgingly moved toward Hua Qing. How can a barbarian be polite? Do you have any manners for me to see? Feng De said mockingly. This woman was still finding trouble with his young lady yesterday, yet she had the cheek to sit down at the same table shamelessly today. That's right. The skin of aristocratic and imperial families had always been quite thick. Big brother Qing. Ximenya looked at Hua Qing aggrievedly. Lung Ruoxia and the others had goosebumps when they heard her calling him Big brother Qing. Shui Xinran, on the other hand, was fuming mad. Do you think you have the right to call him Big brother Qing? Shui Xinran said with jealousy. This bitch actually dares to seduce my man in front of me. She must be tired of living. Big brother Qing, this barbarian bullied me. You have to help me. Ximenya ignored Shui Xinran and acted coquettishly. Big brother Qing will give me face in public, won't he? How do you want me to help you, princess? There was no emotion on his handsome face, and his tone was light. Big brother Qing, you just have to help me teach him a lesson. Ximenya wasn't stupid. She knew that if her request was too much, Hua Qing wouldn't bother with her at all. Moreover, private fights were not allowed during the academy competition. Princess, don't you know the rules during the competition? Hua Qing frowned. Is this princess treating me like a goon? I'm not a lapdog following her around. I just want my big brother Qing to teach him a lesson for me. This isn't a fight. Ximenya said coquettishly. Go away. Big brother Qing won't meddle in your affairs. Shui Xinran roared furiously. Click. Lung Ruoxia put down her chopsticks, and her beautiful eyes glanced at them indifferently. The sudden sound stunned Shui Xinran and Ximenya, but they quickly reacted. What are you doing? The two roared in unison. This isn't a place for you to be jealous of each other. Don't affect my mood when I eat. Not just anyone can touch my people. Lung Ruoxia warned as she looked at Hua Qing. I'm sorry, they were too rude. Hua Qing quickly mediated. He didn't want to anger them, but what he didn't know was that he had actually already angered Lung Ruoxia. Young Master Hua, it's better if we remain strangers from now on, Lung Ruoxia said without giving him any face. She really didn't want to be like in her previous life, being hypocritical with people she didn't like. In this life, she only wanted to live freely and do whatever she wanted to do. It was enough to protect herself and the people she cared about. As for those aristocratic families, imperial families, and the like, she couldn't be bothered to deal with them. But she knew very well that if she wanted to live the life she wanted without any qualms, she had to be stronger than anyone else. Otherwise, everything would be empty talk. Before participating in this academy competition, she had already expected what she would have to face. It was impossible for her to keep a low profile like before, since she had become famous from the competition. Since it was destined that she could not keep a low profile, she could only be arrogant. And there was a price to pay for daring to have any ideas about her. Upon hearing this, Huaqing was stunned for a moment. But he soon recovered and smiled. Do you think that's possible? To be honest, Huaqing really didn't know what provoked her to dislike him so much. The feeling of being hated by a woman really made him a little uncomfortable. As long as you really want something, there's nothing impossible, Lung Ruoxua said indifferently. Then she stood up and walked upstairs. Seeing this, Yi Chun and the others hurriedly left as well. Big brother Qing, this woman is too much. Who does she think she is? Shimenya tried to get into Huaqing's good books with a fawning expression while hating Lung Ruoxua to the core. That's right. Big brother Qing. Lung Ruoxua didn't leave you with any dignity. She's really too much, Shui Xinran said against the common enemy. When did your relationship become so good? Huaqing stood up and walked out. Don't follow me. His cold voice drifted over just as Shui Xinran and Shimenya stood up from their chairs and were about to follow behind him. Lung Ruoxua and the others went straight to the reception room upstairs. Schwer, I'll get someone to deliver some food, Yi Chun said. He hadn't eaten well downstairs just now. He and those people had little common ground and couldn't get along. How could he have an appetite eating with people he hated? Okay. Lung Ruoxua nodded. She hadn't eaten well either. I'll order, Fengde said quickly. Fengde called for food, and the group began eating in the reception room. What? Didn't you have lunch? Elder Chiu and Lung Qingtian walked in together. We weren't full. Grandpa, Elder Chiu, have you eaten? Lung Ruoxua asked them. We've eaten. Oh, by the way, Schwer, the Imperial Palace sent a message asking you guys, Elder Chiu, and me to attend the banquet, Lung Qingtian said. A banquet? Not interested. She would rather sleep in her room. Lass, the banquet was approved by the Lunar Shadow Academy, so it's not good to miss it. It's almost a tradition now, Elder Chiu explained. Every time the competition approached the end, the imperial family of the host country would invite some students who performed excellently in the academy competition and their elders to the imperial palace for a banquet. In addition, some top families would also send invitations. But since the competition had not ended, it was up to the organizers whether or not they could go. Does that mean I have to attend? Lung Ruoxua was a little annoyed. She hated these hypocritical social interactions now, perhaps because she had had too many social engagements in her previous life. Yes, we will offend a lot of people if we don't attend, Elder Chiu said. In fact, he didn't like going either, but he had to. When? Tonight. The palace will send a carriage to pick us up. Chapter 104. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 2. Oh. Lung Ruoxua answered lightly, obviously not in a good mood. After eating, Lung Ruoxua returned to her room and entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Big sister. Qingju appeared in front of her. Qingju, where are those little fellows? Lung Ruoxua was a little curious. If they knew that she came in, they would have pounced on her immediately. Why didn't they come today? I locked them up for cultivation. They only know how to play all day. When can they grow up? Qingju said disgruntledly. Well done. Those little fellows are a little too naughty. Lung Ruoxua praised while gently pinching Qingju's beautiful little face. Big sister, you're taking advantage of me again. Qingju pouted his red lips as he complained, but a hint of affection flashed across his eyes. How could I? You little thing. What's there to take advantage of? Lung Ruoxua defended herself with a few black lines hanging on her forehead. Big sister always likes to touch me. Wouldn't that be considered taking advantage of me? A cunning look flashed past Qingju's eyes, and the word wronged was written all over his pink face. Lung Ruoxua was a little embarrassed, and she immediately left the Heaven and Earth bracelet after taking some items. After leaving the Heaven and Earth bracelet, Lung Ruoxua went straight to her brother's room and knocked on the door gently. Schwer. Lung Ruhan opened the door and welcomed his sister into the room. Big brother, we're going to the palace tonight. Are you coming with us? Lung Ruoxua asked. Schwer, big brother didn't receive an invitation. Of course I can't go, Lung Ruhan said indifferently. Big brother, of course you can go if you want to. Let's see who would dare to stop you. Lung Ruoxue said domineeringly. She would be worried if her brother stayed in the inn. Swear big brother doesn't want to go, Lung Ruhan said. He wasn't interested in boring social gatherings. Then big brother should play in the heaven and earth bracelet. Lung Ruoxue suggested. Okay. I happen to miss Big White and his family, Lung Ruhan said understandingly, knowing that his sister was worried about his safety. After exiting Lung Ruhan's room, Lung Ruoxue went to look for Yi Chen. Swear, let's take a walk around the streets, Yi Chen said after seeing her. Okay, this is for you. Lung Ruoxue handed him the armor she had refined. Yi Chen happily accepted it. After binding it with a drop of blood, he held it in his hand and looked at it over and over again. Not only was the style of his armor different from Lung Ruhan's, but the color was also different. Lung Ruhan's was white, while his was black. He might have wanted Lung Ruhan's previously, but it was obvious that he preferred his own. After he felt that he had looked over it enough, he hurriedly put the armor on and looked at Lung Ruoxue expectantly. How is it? Not bad. It suits you very well. Lung Ruoxue knew that this armor was very suitable for Freak. Then he'll wear it from now on, Yi Chen said with satisfaction. The armor Swear made looked like ordinary clothes, and no one would be able to tell that it was battle armor. Okay. Yi Chen held Lung Ruoxue's soft hand, and the two of them walked out of the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. This was the first time he held Swear's hand openly, and she didn't refuse. His relationship with her had finally taken another step. The two of them walked around the streets for a while, but there were too many people on the streets, and they would be surrounded and looked at wherever they went. They had no choice but to return to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Alas, this was the price of fame. At night, the Imperial Palace sent a carriage to pick them up from the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. After the people from 3 academies got into the carriage, they found that Pang Sun and others from the Lunar Shadow Academy were already inside. The carriage was very luxurious and spacious, so it didn't feel crowded even though there were more than 10 people in it. The 4 academies each sat in one corner, ignoring each other. Lung Ruoxue leaned comfortably against Yi Chen and closed her eyes to take a nap. No one spoke on the way to the Imperial Palace, so the carriage appeared abnormally dull. However, Yi Chen was quite happy along the way because Swear was leaning on him. He took the opportunity to pull her into his arms and took advantage of her openly without any qualms. Hee. Swear, we've arrived at the palace. Yi Chen was a little regretful. Why did we arrive so soon? Everyone alighted from the carriage one by one. The Imperial Palace was grand and majestic, but it was not very attractive to them. Most of them came from aristocratic families, so it was nothing spectacular to them. Esteemed guests, please follow me. A young eunuch walked to them, bowed respectfully, and then led the way. After walking for about 10 minutes, they arrived at the banquet hall. The young eunuch led them to the prearranged seats and left. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy only won second place in the previous academy competition. Although the competition this time was very eye-catching, the competition, especially the most important individual competition, was not over yet, so their seats were still arranged according to the previous placing. The Rising Dragon College was at the front, followed by the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, Lunar Shadow Academy, and Flying Bird Academy. Seated opposite them were various aristocratic families. Elder Chiu, didn't you say that only the students with excellent performance in the academy competition and their elders would be invited? After sitting down, Lung Ruoxue looked at Elder Chiu with a questioning gaze. There seem to be people from the top 10 academies other than the 4 academies. They're no longer in the competition. The Imperial Palace must have sent them an invitation individually, Elder Chiu guessed. It was not like this had never happened before. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly, closed her eyes again, and leaned against Yi Chen as if no one was here. How shameless! How dare she lean on a man in public? Shimenya whispered in jealousy. I'm afraid no one wants you to lean on him, Feng De said mockingly, while looking at this princess who liked to cause trouble for his young lady. Losing control of herself from anger, Shimenya immediately stood up and ordered, You! How dare you! Guards, drag this lowly commoner out. Chapter 105. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 3. Princess, calm down. Although you are a princess, this seems to be the Southern Dusk Empire. Fengde reminded her kindly. Why do these princesses like to call others lowly commoners? Are they the only ones with noble backgrounds? How ignorant. Sit down. Don't make a fool of yourself. The elder from the Rising Dragon Academy roared with displeasure on his face. Shimenya didn't dare to say anything else, and sat down obediently. Elder Chiu, I'm so sorry. She is young and insensible. Please don't take what she says to heart. Elder Wang, it's fine. But you'd better keep an eye on her. That lass won't leave any face for anyone if provoked. Elder Chiu said softly to Elder Wang. Elder Wang looked at Lung Ruoxue, who was pretending to be sleeping, and then at the students of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy. Then he looked at the students of his academy. Alas! Why is the difference so big? Their Rising Dragon Academy was the #1 academy on the Lingfeng continent. But no matter how he looked at it now, he felt that the only good students in their academy seemed to be Huiqing and Yi Xiao. He really didn't know what kind of dog's hit luck the Heavenly Phoenix Academy had. He was so envious. Elder Wang's envious gaze almost made Elder Chiu's tail curl up. If he had won. His Majesty the Emperor has arrived. Her Majesty the Empress has arrived. The Emperor and Empress walked in together, surrounded by members of the imperial family. Everyone stood up to greet the Emperor and Empress except for a few top families, and the major academies who just nodded. There's no need to be so polite. You are all my guests today. Please have a seat. The Emperor said amiably and cordially before sitting on his dragon throne. The Empress sat on the shorter phoenix throne beside the Emperor's dragon throne. Imperial Father, there are so many guests today, but some are very rude. Suddenly, a discordant female voice sounded in the hall. Shut up. What's the occasion today? Is it your turn to speak? The Empress rebuked in displeasure. Huang Fuyu is too unbridled. Just because the Emperor dotes on her, she doesn't even care about me, the first wife. And she didn't forget to show off at such a prestigious banquet. How rude. Imperial Mother, Yuer is telling the truth. What kind of crime should she be guilty of for looking down on the imperial family like this? Huang Fuyu still spoke as she pleased, not taking the Empress' words seriously at all. In any case, her imperial father loved her, and the Empress wouldn't dare to do anything to her. So she was very confident. Yuer, which guest are you talking about? There shouldn't be such an impolite guest. Noble Consort Su, who was sitting on the other side of the Emperor, spoke before the Emperor could. Why yes her? Huang Fuyu's slender jade-like hand pointed at Lung Ruoxue, who was pretending to be asleep with her eyes closed. A scheming smile appeared on her beautiful face. She was just about to look for her when she came knocking on her door. Everyone's gazes curiously looked in the direction she was pointing, and their expressions instantly varied. Some were stunned, some were jealous, some were sympathetic, and some were gloating. But everyone was well aware of the reason for Huang Fuyu's accusation. It was either that this beautiful young lady had offended this snobbish princess, or Huang Fuyu was envious of her beauty and deliberately found trouble with her. Such a thing was nothing in aristocratic families. The Empress also turned her gaze. This girl is so beautiful. She's still so breathtakingly beautiful with her eyes closed. She turned to look at Shui Xinran. Alas, there's no comparison. She is like a phoenix in the sky, while the #1 beauty on the Lingfeng continent is like a chicken in the ground. Huang Fuyu is really becoming more and more promising. She's even provoking people from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy. The 3 academies might not be as powerful as the 5 great families and the imperial families of the 5 countries, but the status of the 3 academies was very transcendent on the Lingfeng continent. Moreover, the 3 academies had spiritual supremacies, and their status was not inferior to that of the imperial families. So the imperial families of the various countries had always been polite to the 3 academies. Furthermore, the Heavenly Phoenix Academy had strong momentum in this academy competition, and it was very likely that it would take first place. They had to be on friendly terms. But Huang Fuyu, the Empress turned to look at the Emperor sitting on the throne. Seeing that he had no intention of stopping her, she stopped talking and waited to watch the show. Lung Ruoxue lazily opened her beautiful eyes and looked around the hall. taking in everyone's expressions. Finally, her gaze landed on Huang Fuyu. Turns out it's her. Princess, are you talking about me? Lung Ruoxue smiled charmingly. Her smile was so beautiful that it dumbfounded everyone. Beautiful. Truly beautiful. The strong were respected in this world. But beautiful women were also pleasing to the eye, especially one with strength. Everyone immediately had different thoughts. It's you. How dare you be so impudent as to not pay respects to my imperial father? How dare you? Huang Fuyu roared arrogantly. Am I being too impudent? Or are you being too impudent? How can a princess of a country be so rude to a guest? Is this the upbringing of the imperial family of the Southern Dusk Empire? Lung Ruoxue's gaze passed Huang Fuyu and gently swept over the emperor sitting on the throne. The emperor of the Southern Dusk Empire, Huang Fuzhen, felt Lung Ruoxue's gaze and just smiled calmly. As expected of the Lung family, their imposing manner isn't something that others can compare to. He couldn't help thinking. Of course you are the one being imprudent. I'm a princess, and you're just a lowly commoner. How dare you compare yourself to me? Huang Fuyu said proudly, her face full of arrogance and cockiness. So spiritual sovereigns are all lowly commoners in your eyes, princess? I understand now. Lung Ruoxue said softly as beautiful eyes looked at everyone. Among the people present today, other than the imperial family and the important ministers of the Southern Dusk Empire, the weakest was a spiritual monarch. Spiritual sovereigns naturally aren't commoners, but you're not a spiritual sovereign, Huang Fuyu said nonchalantly. In fact, she didn't even care about spiritual sovereigns. What about spiritual sovereigns? They still had to be her servants. There was a spiritual sovereign among her guards. Can a great spiritualist like you tell whether I'm a spiritual sovereign or not? Lung Ruoxue said mockingly. At the same time, she felt a few gazes looking at her inquisitively, as though they wanted to know her true strength. You! Huang Fuyu flew into a rage out of humiliation. Without thinking, she grabbed the whip wrapped around her waist and lashed it at Lung Ruoxue's face. Chapter 106. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 4. Aha! Seeing that the whip was about to hit the stunning Bowtie's face, everyone present couldn't help exclaiming. Although some wanted to be the hero who saved the beauty, considering Huang Fuyu's identity, before Lung Ruoxue could make a move, a powerful force shattered the whip in Huang Fuyu's hand, and a trace of imperceptible black spiritual power entered Huang Fuyu's body through the hand holding the whip. Everyone was surprised because no one saw who did it. Who was it? Come out here for this princess now. Huang Fuyu roared a little hysterically. How infuriating. Yuer, that's enough. Huang Fuzhen stopped her. Imperial father. Huang Fuyu cried out with displeasure. Yuer, quickly come back and sit down. Otherwise, go back to your chambers, Huang Fuzhen said with a stern face. Humph. Consider yourself lucky today. Huang Fuyu glared at Lung Ruoxue, and then reluctantly returned to her seat. She really didn't dare to disobey her father. I wonder who is lucky today, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile that was not a smile. She really wanted to kill her just now. This princess would no longer be alive if Huang Fuzhen hadn't suddenly spoken. Thinking of this, she turned her beautiful eyes coldly to Huang Fuzhen. She would remember what happened today. Miss Lung, I'm so sorry. Yuer is young and insensible. Please don't take it to heart, Huang Fuzhen said apologetically. I'm just a lowly commoner. How dare I make a fuss with a noble princess? Lung Ruoxue said coldly. Humph. How can I not make a fuss about it? How can I let go of someone who wants to kill me? Hee. It's good that you didn't take it to heart, Huang Fuzhen said awkwardly. Everyone, welcome to the palace for today's banquet. I hope everyone will have a good time today, Huang Fuzhen said courteously while raising his glass. After he finished speaking, maidservants began to serve the dishes one after another. And in the middle of the hall, there was a carefully arranged musical and dance performance. Miss Lung, how is today's performance? Noble Consort Su asked leisurely. Why does she look so similar? This beautiful face really makes me. Lung Ruoxue was busy fighting with the delicacies in front of her. Charm, Darling, and Quill were also all let out to fight together. The maidservants serving by the side were constantly bringing food for them, and they were so tired that their legs were about to break. As for those people who wanted to exchange pleasantries and toast with her, they were all ignored. Moreover, it wasn't only her, but everyone from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy as well. Everyone was flabbergasted when they saw this scene. Did these people from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy not eat for a few days to be so hungry? On such an occasion, everyone was mostly socializing and establishing connections. How could they eat and drink without caring about their appearances? Miss Lung, don't you like today's performance? Noble Consort Su asked while holding back her anger. Damn it! She's actually ignoring me. No one bothered about her. We're full. Let's go back. Lung Ruoxua said to everyone as she caressed Charms and Darling's round tummies. Okay, I'm full. Let's go back to sleep. Yichen said as he yawned. Miss, we didn't come for nothing today. We saved money and had a satisfying meal. Fengde said contentedly. Yeah, if only someone invites us every day, we could save a lot of money. Ling Yuan approved. In the future, I think we should go and eat whenever someone invites us, and we can pack up whatever we can't eat. There are many of us, so it's better to save whenever we can. Isn't that right, Elder Chiao? Even the more upright Feng Moran chimed in, and finally directed the topic to Elder Chiao. Yes, that makes sense, Elder Chiao said cooperatively while trembling a little. My little ancestors, do you hold a grudge against the Academy? How can you ruin the Academy's reputation like this? Elder Chiao was so depressed that he even wanted to die, but he had no choice but to cooperate. He was alone. Boo-hoo. Principal, I've let you down. After hearing what this said, everyone present even felt a little inferior. Amazing. Simply amazing. Lung Ruoxua, Noble Consort Su screamed, not caring about her appearance. She was about to explode from anger. Who's shouting? Lung Ruoxua dug her ears and looked at everyone suspiciously. It's me, Noble Consort Su roared. This damn girl is obviously doing it on purpose. She was so angry. Who are you? Why are you shouting so loudly? What if you scare people? We're not deaf. Lung Ruoxia's tone was clearly disapproving. You. Noble Consort Su was so infuriated that she couldn't even speak. Lung Ruoxua, how dare you ignore my mother? Huang Fuyu accused her furiously. Your Majesty, the chefs in the Imperial Palace have good culinary skills. We are very satisfied with the food, Lung Ruoxua said politely to Huang Fuzhen, also ignoring Huang Fuyu. Hehe, as long as Miss Lung is satisfied, Huang Fuzhen said helplessly. Lung Ruoxua, Huang Fuyu roared angrily. How dare this woman ignore me? Your Majesty, we are satisfied, but there are still many hungry students in our academy. May we pack some and take them away with us? Lung Ruoxua asked earnestly without even looking at Huang Fuyu. Take away? Huang Fuzhen was speechless. They really wanted to take away the food. This was the first time he heard that someone wanted to take away food when returning from a banquet in the Imperial Palace. Thank you for your understanding, Your Majesty. Lung Ruoxua pretended to be ignorant. Fengde Lin Yuan, go pack with this big sister. Lung Ruoxua pointed at the pink-clothed maidservant who had been serving them food just now. Yes, miss, Fengde and Lin Yuan answered. The maidservant in pink looked at them awkwardly, and then looked up at the emperor. After receiving the emperor's signal, she led them to the imperial kitchen. Your Majesty, we have finished eating. We will take our leave first, Lung Ruoxua said very politely after seeing Fengde and Lin Yuan return. After eating, you can stay to enjoy the song and dance. Huang Fuzhen was a little speechless. So these people were only here to eat. We are all ordinary people and don't know how to appreciate these things, Lung Ruoxua said casually. Chapter 107. Do you dare to accept my challenge? 5. All the more reason for you to stay. The more you watch, the better you will be able to appreciate it. Noble Consort Su forced a smile and tried to convince them to stay. The show hasn't started yet, so how can I let them leave so easily? Swear, let's stay for a while. Lung Qingtian finally spoke. Yes, Grandpa. Lung Ruoxua acted like a well-behaved child. She wanted to see what trick this mother and daughter pair could come up with. It just so happened that she was bored now, so she could watch the monkey show. Having eaten to her fill, Lung Ruoxue continued to use Yi Chun as a cushion and lean on him, with the 3 small and cute beasts lying in her arms. The 2 humans and 3 beasts looked so harmonious. Yi Chun adjusted his posture so that Shuer could lean more comfortably against him. He held a bunch of grapes in his hand and fed them to Shuer one by one. He was elated that Shuer was willing to rely on him so much. His efforts during this period were finally not in vain. What a slut. She's actually leaning in a man's arms in public, Huang Fuyu said with some jealousy. My cousin was right. My dear noble princess, how can this young lady be called a slut by lying on my man? I will only be a slut if I have designs on someone else's man, right? Lung Ruoxue said very contentedly, while enjoying the service of the freakishly beautiful man, eating the grapes he fed to her. How did I become used to leaning on him, after only a few times? What should I do? I can't let this freak know, or he will become arrogant. That's right. Women who like to have ideas about other people's men are the most despicable. Shui Xinran agreed very much as she looked at Ximenya. She hated that Lung Ruoxue was more beautiful than her. But she hated Ximenya even more. Who are you talking about? Huang Fuyu roared furiously. Why are you so worked up, princess? Could it be? Lung Ruoxue smiled and stopped speaking. Lung Ruoxue, do you dare to accept my challenge? Huang Fuyu said while suppressing her anger. You, a great spiritualist, want to challenge me? Lung Ruoxue looked at Huang Fuyu carefully from head to toe, wanting to see what was wrong with her. Yes, Huang Fuyu said confidently. You will regret it if you accept it. It won't be a battle between spiritualists. I'm not interested, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently after a while. You tricked me. Are you afraid? Huang Fuyu looked at Lung Ruoxue mockingly, her face full of provocation. Who do you think you are? I'm just too lazy to deal with you. Do you really think you're some big shot? Lung Ruoxue said very honestly. Honesty was a virtue. She originally didn't want to deal with such a clown, but the other party didn't agree. Yuer, since Miss Lung isn't willing to accept your challenge, why force her? I believe Miss Lung must have her own difficulties, Noble Consort Su said understandingly, but what she implied was that Lung Ruoxue was too timid and scared to accept the challenge. Princess, why do you want to challenge me? Lung Ruoxue asked indifferently. If she didn't cooperate now that the mother and daughter were provoking her together, wouldn't she be too unaccommodating? I want to compete with you in beast taming, Huang Fuyu said confidently. She was favored for a reason. She was already a master beast trainer. Pfft. Fengda and the others directly spat out the wine in their mouths. It was really too sensible for this brain-dead girl to compete with their young lady in beast training. Are you sure? What? Are you scared? Huang Fuyu said arrogantly. Beast training was her forte, and even her master praised her for being a rare beast trainer genius. Are you sure you want to compete with someone who isn't a beast trainer? Lung Ruoxue asked for confirmation. Of course. But if you're afraid, you can admit defeat now, Huang Fuyu reminded cockily. She was blinded by her pride and didn't realize that her actions would cause others to despise her. In fact, she only wanted to find a reason to humiliate Lung Ruoxue. So she didn't care if Lung Ruoxue knew how to tame beasts. What a joke. Why should I be afraid if you aren't? Lung Ruoxue was truly speechless. She thought they would have a good idea, but it was actually a beast taming competition. But why didn't Huang Fuzhen stop such a brainless idea? She couldn't help turning her gaze to the emperor sitting on this throne. But the expression on his face was very calm, and no one could tell what was on his mind. I didn't expect Princess Huang Fuyu to be a beast trainer, someone whispered to the person beside him in the hall. I didn't expect it. The Southern Dusk Empire hit her too well. No wonder the emperor dotes on her so much, another person echoed. But isn't it being too much of a bully for a beast trainer to compete with someone who isn't one? Another person interrupted. It was a very young man, who was obviously standing up for Lung Ruoxue. The whispers from the 3 of them were very soft, but many people present were experts at the spiritual monarch realm and above. Thus, when they heard their whispered discussions, the gazes that many shot at Huang Fuyu carried a trace of disdain. Unfortunately, the person involved didn't notice in the slightest, and she even thought that everyone was looking at her with admiration. Guards, bring them here. As soon as Huang Fuyu finished speaking, several servants carried 2 large cages into the hall. Everyone's gaze was immediately attracted by the spirit beasts in the cages. One of the cages had a golden python with a white horn, and the other had a black fox that was glossy all over. These 2 spirit beasts were lying lazily in the cages with mocking eyes. Ink Fox, Charm, what's the matter? Do you know it? Lung Ruoxua asked Charm in her head. Master, it is a purple-eyed ink fox, a rare mutated fox among purple-eyed snow foxes. Master, please save it. Charm said to Lung Ruoxua excitedly in his head. He couldn't bear to see his own kind locked in that small cage. Beloved master, your darling begs you to save it. Darling also begged in her head. The fox race couldn't tolerate the existence of ink foxes, but this ink fox had been captured by humans. It was really too pitiful. If you can't, then cancel the competition, Lung Ruoxua provoked. Of course I can decide. Huang Fuyu roared angrily. It's good that you are in charge. I don't want any disputes in the future. I absolutely hate trouble, Lung Ruoxua said lightly. Everyone, please bear witness for Ruoxua. Princess Huang Fuyu said that the spirit beasts will belong to whoever tames them. She then said to everyone in the hall. Lung Ruoxua, what do you mean? You don't believe what this princess says. Huang Fuyu hollered in disbelief. I really don't believe it unless you write it in black and white, Lung Ruoxua said very honestly. Good children should be honest. Okay, this princess will write it for you. Huang Fuyu was a little unsettled. Why is Lung Ruoxua so troublesome? Someone bring me a brush and paper. After finishing writing, Huang Fuyu handed the note to a maidservant. The maidservant walked to Lung Ruoxua and handed the note to her. But Lung Ruoxua didn't take it. Lung Ruoxua, what do you want now? Nothing. I just want the princess mother to be a witness for us. Lung Ruoxua said innocently. Anyone who dared to plot against me has to be prepared to suffer the consequences. I'm not a kind little rabbit. In that case, I'll be your witness, noble consort Su said confidently. This Lung Ruoxua is obviously stalling for time. I can't allow it. After hearing this, the maidservant hurriedly handed the note to noble consort Su. She then passed it to Lung Ruoxua. After the noble consort Su signed her name on it. Lung Ruoxua took the note and read it carefully. Only after confirming that there were no mistakes did she put the note away. There shouldn't be a problem now, right? Huang Fuyu asked while suppressing her anger. No problem. Then can we start now? Huang Fuyu asked through gritted teeth. She really wanted to swallow Lung Ruoxua alive now. Of course. Lung Ruoxua smiled lightly. Then let's begin. Huang Fuyu walked directly to the cage of the one-horned golden python and began to tame it. Lung Ruoxua, why aren't you starting? Noble consort Su couldn't help asking. What does she want? Has she given up on her own accord? At this moment, noble consort Su had countless questions in her mind. Princess Mother, be quiet. You will regret it if the princess turns into a fool because of your disturbance. Lung Ruoxua reminded lightly. You. Noble consort Zu's face turned green with anger when she heard what Lung Ruoxua said. But she really didn't dare to say another word. Lass, why aren't you taming the beast yet? Elder Chiu asked curiously. He knew that this girl knew how to tame beasts back at Thousand Cry Mountain. Moreover, the beast she tamed was only a level 5 holy beast, while this one was level 9. Could this lass not be confident? Elder Chiu couldn't help letting his imagination run wild. Good things must wait. What's the rush? Lung Ruoxua said nonchalantly, as if the beast taming competition had nothing to do with her. Old man Chiu, don't be like a eunuch. As the saying goes, the emperor is not worried, but his eunuchs are. Lung Qingtian provoked. Are you calling me a eunuch? You old thing, you're asking for a beating. Elder Chiu roared, fuming with rage. Chapter 109. Stewing in one's own juice too. Can you beat me? I can't beat you. Whoa, you're too much of a bully. Elder Chiu's eyes welled up with tears, as if he was about to cry. Unfortunately, no one cared. Elder Chiu, there's nothing wrong with being a eunuch. They are civil servants at least, Lung Ruoxua teased. What is a civil servant? Elder Chiu looked at Lung Ruoxua in confusion. Works for an emperor. Oh, I don't want to be a civil servant, Elder Chiu said seriously after thinking about it. Pfft. Lung Ruoxua couldn't help laughing. Elder Chiu is really too cute. Teasing him for no reason is pretty fun. In the middle of the hall, Huang Fuyu was taming a beast. But Lung Ruoxua sat in her seat like a spectator who had nothing to do with it, and she didn't have the slightest intention to move, causing everyone present to be endlessly puzzled. Does Lung Ruoxua intend to give up directly? Charm, go. Hook up with that black fox for master. Lung Ruoxua said evilly to Charm, who was lying in her arms. What do you mean by hook up? Charm's fluffy little face was full of black lines. Master, can you not make things sound so suggestive? Lung Ruoxua's voice was not loud, just enough for everyone present to hear clearly. They were just like Charm, and had black lines hanging on their heads. Is Lung Ruoxua planning to let her little pet beast go and hook up with the spirit beast? Charm's transformed appearance was really too cute, so no one thought that he was strong. Many people even believed that the small snow-white fox was a pet. Letting a pet hook up with a spirit beast was a big joke in many people's hearts. If spirit beasts were so easy to hook up with, they would also let their spirit beasts hook up with them. A honey trap. Who didn't know how to do it? Charm jumped out of Lung Ruoxua's arms elegantly and walked slowly to the cage with the ink fox inside. They stared at each other for 3 seconds before they began speaking in the fox language that no one could understand. Purple-eyed snow fox, the ink fox in the cage said softly. It noticed this fox just now, but it didn't expect that a noble king of foxes, a purple-eyed snow fox, would acknowledge a human as his master. Ink fox, how did you get caught by humans? Charm asked curiously. Although purple-eyed snow foxes were acknowledged to be the strongest among the fox race, only they knew that mutated ink foxes with the dark attribute were the most powerful among the fox race. But the fox race felt that black was inauspicious, so they would expel mutated ink foxes and leave them to fend for themselves whenever they appeared. Alas, this was also the sorrow of the ink foxes. Bored, the ink fox in the cage said indifferently. It had lived alone for too long and was very lonely. Its kind refused to accept it, so it would rather be captured by humans. In fact, its goal was very simple. It just wanted to find a partner and some warmth, but it had yet to find a human worthy of being its master, and no human could tame it. My master asked me to hook up with you, Charm said cheekily. Ink foxes were not so easily manipulated, so he had to make the ink fox do it willingly. The ink fox looked at Charm strangely for some time before saying, I'm a male. I'm not interested in the same gender. I'm not interested in the same gender either, Charm said hurriedly with a dark face. Boo-hoo, how embarrassing. What I mean is that you can follow my master, Charm explained. That girl? The ink fox asked calmly. What's so special about her that even the highest-ranking purple-eyed snow fox acknowledged her as his master? Yes, my master is the best master. You will never regret following her, nor will you be alone anymore, Charm said with a touch of sympathy. Mutated ink foxes had not appeared in the fox race for a long time, but he had been very interested in ink foxes since he was young, and had once specially studied their mentality. Therefore, he knew that ink foxes were all lonely, but at the same time, ink foxes had the innate pride of purple-eyed snow foxes. The ink fox looked at Lung Ruoxua, then at Charm, and fell into deep thought. Will Charm succeed? Yichen asked curiously. The ink fox had been coldly treated since he was young, so it wouldn't be easy to move him. I have confidence in Charm, Lung Ruoxua said. Charm and Darling had communicated about the ink fox in her head just now, so she felt sympathy for the ink fox. To be honest, she wasn't a compassionate person. She might not feel this way if it was a human, but alas, I just can't stand seeing cute little animals being treated like this. Seeing the ink fox still pondering, Charm didn't bother him. He waited quietly by the side for his decision, while watching Huang Fuyu tame the other beast. Daring to scheme against master. She will be lucky if she merely dies. I agree to acknowledge her as my master, the ink fox said slowly after pondering for a long time. He hoped that he wouldn't regret his decision. His request was simple. He just wanted to feel a trace of warmth. You won't regret it, Charm said firmly. The ink fox could experience the rest for himself. I'll help you open the cage. No need. I'll do it myself, the ink fox said, and immediately broke out of the cage. An ordinary cage for holy beasts like this was nothing to him. If it wasn't because he was too lazy to leave, it would have been impossible to trap him. After getting out, the ink fox glanced at the one-horned golden flood dragon, and then walked toward Lung Ruoxua with charm. Most of the people present looked at this unbelievable scene with their mouths agape. The hookup actually succeeded. Can I also get my spirit beast to deploy honey traps in the future as well? Everyone's thoughts became lively at that moment. The ink fox, who had transformed into a little fox, walked to Lung Ruoxua and said, I am willing to acknowledge you as my master. Okay. Lung Ruoxua nodded and happily hugged the cute little black fox in her arms. Why are spirit beasts all so cute in their transformed state? They're simply irresistible. The ink fox, who was in Lung Ruoxua's arms, felt uncomfortable all over and also a little shy. Fortunately, he was black and had fluffy fur to protect himself. Otherwise, others would definitely notice that his face was red. Chapter 110. Stewing in One's Own Juice 3. Don't be shy. My beloved master is easy to get along with, Darling said understandingly. I'm not shy. The exposed ink fox roared in anger. How could I be shy? I've been an adult for hundreds of years. Lung Ruoxua caressed the black fur of the fox to calm him down. Alas! What an awkward little fox. I'll name you Dazzle, Lung Ruoxua said after some thought. Thank you, master, the ink fox said, even though he hadn't officially acknowledged her as his master yet. You can acknowledge me as your master after we leave this place. Okay. Dazzle nodded. Perhaps I really won't regret this decision. Master, that golden flood dragon. Dazzle opened his mouth, seemingly wanting to say something. What about it? Lung Ruoxua looked at Dazzle in confusion. Although flood dragons had the bloodlines of dragons, they were cold-blooded like snakes, and she had never liked snakes. As the human and beast chatted, abnormalities began to appear in the center of the hall that had been silent all along. Amid everyone's exclamations, Lung Ruoxua raised her head to look at Huang Fuyu. At this moment, Huang Fuyu had an extremely painful expression on her face, and her forehead was covered in sweat as her countenance became paler and paler. This was obviously a sign of backlash. Huang Fuyu's life would be over unless someone could tame this flood dragon. But even if someone were to tame the golden flood dragon now, although Huang Fuyu's life could be saved, she would still become a fool. As for the golden flood dragon in the cage, it was still very calm, as if this had nothing to do with it. This flood dragon is quite interesting, Lung Ruoxua thought while looking at the situation in front of her. When do you intend to make a move? Yichen asked in a low voice. Shuer won't just watch Huang Fuyu lose her life, right? There's no rush. Let's enjoy the show first. Of course she would help, but not now. Guards, go to the Beast Trainer Association to look for Master Sui. Disregarding her manners, noble consort Su hurriedly stood up and yelled when she realized that something was amiss. Reporting to noble consort, we have already sent people to invite Master Sui. But he doesn't seem to be in lunar capital recently, a eunuch said cautiously. What? Hurry up and look for him. You must find him, noble consort Su said anxiously. My dear consort, please calm down. I have sent someone to invite him over, Huang Fuzhen comforted. Your Majesty, you must think of a way to save our precious daughter, noble consort Su said with tears in her eyes. No man could bear to refuse such an appearance. Sister, His Majesty will definitely think of a way. Don't worry too much. The Empress tried to console her, but her gaze turned to Lung Ruoxua. Alas, if anything really happens to Huang Fuyu, noble consort Su will definitely blame her. You. It must be you. What did you do? You must have harmed my Yuer. Suddenly, noble consort Su pointed at Lung Ruoxua, as if she had gone mad. The hatred in her eyes made it seem as though she wanted to skin Lung Ruoxua alive. Am I the one who wanted to compete? Or am I the one who provided this spirit beast? Lung Ruoxua looked at noble consort Su mockingly. Then you must have done something. Noble consort Su insisted. What a joke. Everyone can vouch that this young lady didn't even stand up. How could I have tampered with it? Why don't you show me how to tamper with it? Is this woman crazy? Lung Ruoxue was really speechless. She originally wanted Huang Fuyu to suffer less, but now, I've changed my mind. Your Majesty, quickly get someone to arrest Lung Ruoxue. She must have harmed Yuer. Noble Consort Shuer requested Huang Fuzhen. Ah, my beloved consort. I know you're worried about Yuer, but you have to calm down. There are so many people watching. Miss Lung really didn't have the chance to do anything. Huang Fuzhen comforted impatiently. If he really arrested Lung Ruoxue, Lung Qingtian would definitely fight him. Your Majesty, beloved consort, why don't you go back to your palace to rest first? Huang Fuzhen signaled the eunuch beside him with his eyes, and the eunuch half supported and half carried noble consort Su away. Miss Lung, I'm so sorry. I hope you can understand a mother's love for her daughter, the emperor said with an apologetic face. I understand, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Of course not. Lung Ruoxue turned her gaze to the golden flood dragon in the cage. This flood dragon is quite interesting. It's actually playing with Huang Fuyu. Otherwise, she would have probably died a long time ago, with that little amount of mental strength she has. Hehe. I will accept this flood dragon, just because of its devious nature. Your Majesty, Master Wu is here. A guard walked in and reported. Quick, please. Huang Fuzhen hurriedly said with an anxious expression on his face. A middle-aged man in his 50s walked into the hall. Your Majesty. The middle-aged man bowed slightly. Master Wu, there's no need to be so polite. Please save Yuer, Huang Fuzhen quickly said. Master Wu was the vice president of the Beast Trainer Association, so he should have a way. Your Majesty, don't panic. Let me take a look. Master Wu approached and observed carefully. Your Majesty, there's nothing I can do, Master Wu said after looking at it for a while. He was not a fool. There could only be one possibility if even a master beast trainer could not tame this spirit beast. They were all mistaken. He would definitely not take the risk, since he couldn't determine the level of the golden python. It wouldn't be worth losing his life for someone unrelated to him. What should we do? Master Wu, is Master Sui back? The Empress asked worriedly. Senior brother went to the illusionary forest and won't be back anytime soon. Master Wu's words completely dashed their hopes. Elder Wang, do you think we can invite the genius beast trainer from your academy to try? Huang Fuzhen probed. Your Majesty, how can others tame something that even Master Wu isn't confident about? Elder Wang declined implicitly. Isn't it enough for your daughter to become a fool? Do you want to turn the genius of our academy into one as well? Huang Fuzhen couldn't force Elder Wang after hearing what he said. Chapter 111. Stewing in one's own juice 4. Why don't you let my beast try? Lung Ruoxue suddenly said when she saw that it was about time. Okay, Huang Fuzhen said happily. Dazzle, go and hook up with that golden python for Master. Lung Ruoxue ordered indifferently. Master. Dazzle's face was full of black lines, and his eyes were full of hidden bitterness as he looked at his future unscrupulous master. Boo-hoo. I'm interested in that fellow. I don't want to hook up with it. But he had to listen to his master's orders. Dazzle mustered up his courage in front of everyone, walked to the cage enclosing the one-horned golden flood dragon, and looked resentfully at the calm flood dragon. Hey, my future master asked me to hook up with you. It was also similar to Charm's opening statement earlier, and it was said in the beast language. I'm not interested in male foxes, the flood dragon replied. I'm not interested in a male snake either, Dazzle said angrily. What an ungrateful stinky snake. You are the snake. Your whole family are snakes. The one-horned golden flood dragon hated being called a snake the most. How am I like a snake? Do snakes have scales as beautiful as mine? What a tasteless idiot. I am a fox and I don't have a family. Dazzle roared. He was really angry. Charm, what are they talking about? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking when she saw the two little beasts seemingly arguing. They're bickering. Charm's face was full of black lines. These two fellows. He would have beaten them up if not for the fact that he didn't want to expose his strength. They really made him worry. All right. I accept hooking up with you. the flood dragon suddenly said after he was done arguing with Dazzle. Then what are you waiting for? Come with me to see Master quickly, Dazzle said in a commanding tone. What should I do with this woman? The flood dragon asked disdainfully as he looked at the woman who had been blinded by her own cleverness. Just turn her into a fool. Don't kill her, Yao said after some thought. He definitely couldn't let a woman who dared to plot against his master off easily. Okay. The flood dragon increased the pressure on her mental strength until he was sure that Huang Fuyu was definitely a fool. After losing the pressure, Huang Fuyu's body collapsed to the ground. The flood dragon broke open his cage like Dazzle had done, and his cold golden eyes glanced indifferently at Master Wu. Then he transformed into a mini-snake, as thick as a finger, and crawled toward Lung Ruoxue behind Dazzle. Nearby, Master Wu felt a chill run down his spine from just being glanced at by those cold golden eyes. But Lung Ruoxue held the golden snake in her hand and fiddled with him. The snake's body was cold, his scales were very soft, and his entire body was golden. He looks pretty good. Oh, I can use him as a bracelet. Miss, these two spirit beasts belong to our Beast Trainer Association. I hope you can return them to their owners. Master Wu summoned up his courage to say as he looked at the golden python, hanging around Lung Ruoxue's snow-white wrist as a bracelet, and the black fox lying in her arms. He could see that Lung Ruoxue was definitely not easy to deal with, so he could choose not to take back that python. But he had to bring that fox back. That level 9 holy beast was the treasure of their Beast Trainer Association. You're saying that they're yours? What evidence do you have? Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Whatever was in her hands was hers. There was no way they could go back. Master Wu was speechless. How was he going to prove it? Even if he went back and asked the people of the Beast Trainer Association to be his witnesses, she probably wouldn't admit it. Princess Huang Fuyu borrowed these two spirit beasts from our Beast Trainer Association, Master Wu continued, unwilling to give up. Oh, ask the princess to testify then. The princess said that whoever tamed these two spirit beasts would be their owner. She had the power to make the decision, and everyone here can testify to it. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently with an expression that screamed, "Don't try to lie to me." Is this stinky girl planning to keep these spirit beasts of our association? Ask the princess to testify? The princess has already fainted. Even if she wakes up now, she's probably a fool. What's there to testify? Master Wu was so angry. Miss, it won't do you any good to offend our Beast Trainer Association, Master Wu warned. Master Wu, are you threatening me? This young lady only recognizes beasts and not humans. These two beasts are mine now, and no one can snatch them away. Lung Ruoxue used the word snatch to imply that they shouldn't bully others with their power. That's right. The condition was agreed upon before the competition. But you want them back now that our young lady won the competition. What kind of person is this? How can people from the Beast Trainer Association bully others like this? Fengde echoed cleverly. You, Master Wu, right? Since the princess is the one who borrowed them from you, why don't you ask the princess for them? Why are you pestering my young lady? You're too old. Ling Yuan also wanted to stir up trouble, and he even implied that Master Wu was up to no good. Your Majesty. Master Wu was so angry that he couldn't speak, and he turned to look at Huang Fuzhen. Master Wu, Yue is currently unconscious. Let's talk about it when she wakes up. Huang Fuzhen said perfunctorily. He couldn't clean up this mess. Seeing the emperor's attitude, Master Wu was very unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. He couldn't forcefully snatch them, and even if he tried, he wouldn't be able to snatch them. This incident has dampened everyone's spirits, so let's end the banquet here. Huang Fuzhen said. Swear, let's go back. Lung Qingtian said. Today's show was almost over. Okay. Lung Ruoxue and the others stood up and walked out of the hall. But just as they reached the imperial garden, a maidservant stopped them. Miss Lung, Her Majesty the Empress invites you, the maidservant said respectfully. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with your Empress. Lung Ruoxue declined lightly. Just as Lung Ruoxue and the others were about to leave, a handsome youth appeared in front of them. Miss Lung, I am Huang Fulian. Imperial Mother asked me to invite you over. The empress had told the crown prince not to put on airs in front of Lung Ruoxue. Chapter 112. Stewing in one's own juice 5. Swear go. Lung Qingtian said. She should at least give her some face, since the crown prince personally invited her. Okay, I'll listen to grandpa. Swear I'll go with you, Yichen said. He was worried about this crown prince. Grandpa, you can go back first. There's no need to wait for us, Lung Ruoxue said to her grandfather with a nod. Then she and Freak followed Huang Fulian to the Empress Palace, Phoenix Right Hall. At the Phoenix Right Hall, Imperial Mother, Miss Lung is here, Huang Fulian said to the beautiful middle-aged woman sitting in Phoenix Right Hall. Welcome, Ruoxue. The beautiful middle-aged woman stood up and greeted her. Your Majesty, we don't seem to be so familiar? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking. Is this Empress trying to get close to me? Your mother and I were very good friends, the Empress explained with a smile. When she first saw Lung Ruoxue, she only felt that she was very beautiful and resembled an old friend. But she later found out that she really was the daughter of the old friend. I've never heard that my mother had a friend who is an empress, Lung Ruoxue said lightly, not knowing why the empress called her here. When she was in the hall just now, the expression on the empress' face clearly showed that she didn't know her. But now, she was actually trying to worm her way into being close with her. That's normal. Very few people know that your mother and I were friends, the empress said nonchalantly. Oh, may I know why your Majesty wanted to see Ruoxue? Lung Ruoxue asked bluntly. I just want to remind you to be careful of noble consort Su. She won't let you off, the empress said with concern on her beautiful face. Thank you for the reminder, your Majesty. Ruoxue will be careful. If there's nothing else, we'll take our leave. Be careful on the road. I'll ask Lianer to send a carriage to see you off, the empress said enthusiastically. There's no need. We have a spirit beast. Quill, who had been lying in Lung Ruoxue's arms, immediately flew into the air and became larger after hearing his master's words. After Lung Ruoxue and Yichen sat on his back, he flew out of the Imperial Palace. Imperial Mother. Where is His Majesty? Imperial Father went to Huang Fuye's chambers, Huang Fulian said. Liana, let's go take a look too, the Empress said after some thought. Your Majesty, you have to avenge Yuer. It's all because of that slut Lung Ruoxue. Whoa whoa. The Empress and the Crown Prince heard noble consort Su crying and talking the moment they entered Huang Fuye's chambers. Beloved consort, everyone saw what happened just now. If we cause trouble for Lung Ruoxue, because of this, people will talk and criticize us. So even if we want to take revenge, we have to have a better excuse. Huang Fuzhen coaxed gently, but his eyes were full of impatience. Your Majesty is right. Even if we want to take revenge, we have to think about it carefully. How can we just take revenge like that? The Empress echoed as she walked in. Empress is right, noble consort Su said obediently. But the hatred in her eyes was impossible to ignore. Lung Ruoxue, you are dead meat. Lung Ruoxue and Yichen soon returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. I'm going back to my room. Lung Ruoxue went directly into her room after saying this to Freak. Yichen stood in the corridor and looked at Schwer's closed door gloomily. After returning to her room, Lung Ruoxue entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Schwer. Lung Ruhan hurried over when he saw his sister. Big brother, don't worry, Lung Ruoxue comforted. She knew very well what her brother was afraid of. Big brother, they are my new spirit beasts. Lung Ruoxue changed the topic and pointed at the two sluggish little beasts who entered with her. Yes, Big Brother saw it. Even though he was in the Heaven and Earth bracelet, he could see what was happening outside. Master, I'm leaving for a while, Charm suddenly said. Then he picked up the fox and the flood dragon, asked Qingju to find a place for them, and did what he had wanted to do in the palace. Big Brother, are you going out? Yes. Everyone will be worried if they don't see me return, Lung Ruhan said. Then I'll send you out. After sending her brother out, Lung Ruoxue returned to the Heaven and Earth bracelet. But just as she entered, two crying little beasts jumped into her arms. Moreover, they looked quite miserable. A lot of the soft and shiny black fur on Dazzle's body had fallen, and a lot of it was stuck together. A few scales had fallen off the body of the golden flood dragon, and there were bloodstains all over his golden body. Master, Charm bullied us. Dazzle was the first to complain. That damn stinky snow fox is actually a divine beast. Boo-hoo. I feel inferior. That snow fox clearly cultivated for far less time than I did. But he's already a divine beast. This was too much of a blow to an old fox who had cultivated alone for hundreds of years. Master, you have to uphold justice for the disadvantaged. You can't let the evil forces continue to run rampant. The proud one-horned golden flood dragon said pitifully. A few drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruaksha's forehead. What's going on? I really didn't expect these two little beasts to be such funny fellows. Alas, it seems like my life will be very lively from now on. Charm. Master. Charm obediently jumped into Lung Ruaksha's arms and lay down. His beautiful purple eyes looked triumphantly at the two complaining fellows. Today, he wanted them to know who the boss here was. Stay here for now, Lung Ruashua said to the fox and flood dragon before leaving the heaven and earth bracelet with Charm and Darling in her arms. Master. The next day, when Lung Ruashua entered the heaven and earth bracelet, she found the two little beasts lying listlessly on the ground even though their injuries had long healed. What's wrong with you two? Lung Ruashua asked curiously. Alas, our master doesn't like us, Dazzle said without even looking up. After he stayed here for a night, his inferiority complex had already changed into an extreme inferiority complex, because he discovered that his future master had many extraordinary beasts. Even that bird was a divine beast. Boohoo, divine beast. I also want to be one. Chapter 113. Stewing in One's Own Juice 6. Who said that? Lung Ruashua was puzzled. Did I say anything about not liking them? It doesn't need to be said. Master has so many beasts, but we aren't the most powerful. So Master naturally won't have many opportunities to use us. What status will we have then? The one-horned golden flood dragon lowered his head in dejection. Whoa, I still don't have a name. Pfft. Lung Ruashua couldn't help laughing out loud. How can these two beasts be so cute? They can actually think of something like this. What's so funny? The bad-tempered flood dragon roared angrily and raised his head. Master. Oh no, why is it Master? Oh no, it's over. Master's impression of me is probably even worse now. Boo-hoo. Master. Dazzle also looked up upon hearing the word Master. It's really Master. What did I say just now? Hide quickly. What are you two hiding for? Come out. Lung Ruashua looked at the two little beasts shyly hiding behind the tree after seeing her. When she saw them yesterday, she felt that these two fellows were quite steady and mature. Why did it seem like they had been swapped out after only one night? Master, you can't dislike us, Dazzle said cautiously. Did I say I don't like you? I came here to contract with you, Lung Ruashua explained. Why do these two little fellows feel so insecure? Really? After hearing this, the two little beasts hurriedly ran out from behind the tree and looked at Lung Ruashua expectantly. Really? Lung Ruashua looked at the two very unsure little fellows with some amusement. Then she reached out, hugged them in her arms, and exited the heaven and earth bracelet. After leaving her room, Lung Ruashua went straight to look for Freak. I want to go out for a while, Lung Ruashua said directly to Freak after entering his room. Where? I want to go too. Freak's black and shiny beautiful eyes were full of anticipation. Then let's go. After notifying her grandfather, the two of them sat on Quill and left the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Quill, go to Thousand Cry Mountain. Yes, Master. After flying for about an hour, the two humans and three beasts arrived at Thousand Cry Mountain. Quill found a place with no one around to land. We can establish the contracts now, Lung Ruashua said to the two little beasts. Yes, Master. The two little beasts happily started the soul contracts directly. After the contract arrays disappeared, they successfully acknowledged their master. Master. The two little beasts pounced directly into Lung Ruaksha's arms and acted coquettishly. Golden Flood Dragon will be called Rise from now on. Take these 2 pills now. After giving the Flood Dragon a name, Lung Ruashua took out 2 green spirit pills and handed them to the two little beasts. Yes, master. Such rich spiritual energy. The two little beasts were surprised and couldn't wait to throw the pills into their mouths. A moment later, the two little beasts felt something amiss, as though they were about to advance. Master, we're going to advance. The two little beasts screamed, and quickly jumped out of Lung Ruoxia's arms. They found a spacious place, and restored their huge bodies in preparation to advance. Not long later, heaven and earth laws descended. Even after the heaven and earth laws disappeared, the two little beasts were still in a daze. They became divine beasts. They became divine beasts so easily. The two little beasts looked at each other again and again. Yes, they were really divine beasts now. This was really unbelievable. They had both cultivated for hundreds of years, but they became divine beasts in such a short time. After the two beasts advanced, the spiritual energy in Lung Ruoxia's body reached a peak. But unfortunately, she still didn't feel any signs of breaking through. Master. After the two beasts finally believed that they had become divine beasts, they happily jumped into Lung Ruoxia's arms and rubbed against her. But their behavior thoroughly offended someone who suspected them of taking advantage of her. Are you two done? The two little beasts were thrown out with a furious roar. Whoa, master, he bullied us. After being thrown far away, the two little beasts crawled back and complained aggrievedly. Freak, what are you doing? Lung Ruoxia asked in confusion. Is Freak jealous of the two little beasts? These two little things were taking advantage of you. Freak complained with tears in his eyes. Boo-hoo. I haven't even enjoyed this benefit yet, but the spirit beasts beat me to it. At this moment, Freak felt extremely unbalanced in his heart. Freak, aren't you thinking too much? They are just two spirit beasts, Lung Ruoxia said helplessly. They are already divine beasts and can transform into humans. Freak exposed the two little beasts' scheme. Yes. Why didn't you two transform into human form? Lung Ruoxia asked curiously. We are too used to being spirit beasts and didn't react for a while. Moreover, we are strongest in our beast form, Dazzle explained. What he said was the truth. The two of them were really not mentally prepared at all for the advancement to divine beast. After the advancement, they were so excited that they forgot they could transform into human form. Moreover, as beasts, they could still occupy the arms of their master. Hehe. Beloved master, your darling also wants to advance. Whoa. At this moment, Darling in the Heaven and Earth bracelet lost his composure. The other two advanced to divine beasts, but he was still only a level 8 holy beast now. Boo-hoo. This is too much of a blow. He felt so sad and so inferior. I told you to cultivate properly time and again. Now you're anxious, huh? Lung Ruoxia pretended to scold him. Beloved master, you can't dislike your darling, Darling said aggrievedly. He just wanted to stay with his master. Cultivation was too boring. I don't dislike you. Since you want to advance, I'll get Qingju to find a place for you to cultivate. Come out when you advance to level 9 holy beast, Lung Ruoxia said. Beloved master, you mustn't forget Darling, Darling said worriedly. Chapter 114. We didn't do anything. 1. Of course not. How could I forget my cute darling? Lung Ruoxia promised. Then your darling will cultivate. Cultivate diligently. After arranging Darling's matter, Lung Ruoxia saw Freak looking at her with resentment. She smiled helplessly. What? Are you really jealous of the spirit beasts? Can't I be jealous? Freak said aggrievedly. Yesterday, Schwerer ignored me because of these two little beasts. Boo-hoo. Yes, you can. Lung Ruoxia coaxed. There was nothing she could do about him. Freak loved to pretend to be pitiful, and it always made her unable to steal her heart. Alas, am I really going to be manipulated by him? No, I have to think of a way. That's more like it, Freak said with satisfaction. If this little thing dared to say no, I would have had to run away from home. Let's go back, Lung Ruoxia said while looking at the time. Why are we going back so early? Let's stay for a while. Freak didn't want to go back so early. Tomorrow is the individual competition. We have to go back and prepare. What's there to prepare? Freak said nonchalantly. In fact, they had all discussed it today. but only hid it from Schwer. Then why are we staying here? They had just left this place a few days ago, and there was really nothing better to do here. A date? We haven't been on a date for a long time, Freak said pitifully. A date? Lung Ruoxia's forehead dripped with sweat. What does Freak mean? Have we been on a date before? Why can't I remember? Yes. You have to go on a date with me. You're my fiancé, so we have to go on a date. Freak emphasized. Okay then. How do you want to go on the date? Lung Ruoxia coaxed. There's something wrong with Freak today. Let's find a quiet place. Freak said suggestively. What do you want to do? Lung Ruoxia looked at him cautiously. I don't want to do anything. I just want to find a place where no one will disturb us. Freak felt wronged. How could Schwer misunderstand me? I'm such a pure child. Isn't there no one here? Where else could there be? But there are beasts here. Why don't you put them away? Freak pointed at the two eyesores. Lung Ruoxia looked at the two beasts not far away, who were looking at her with tears in their eyes. All right. After thinking about it, Lung Ruoxia got the two beasts to enter the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Alas! Does this count as choosing a man over beasts? Put Quill away too. Freak continued. All right. Lung Ruoxia obediently got Quill to enter the bracelet as well. Freak should be satisfied now. That's more like it. Seeing how cooperative Schwer was, Freak was very satisfied. His depressed mood finally improved a little. The two of them found a place to sit down, but no one spoke for a while. Hey, when are you going to stop? Lung Ruoxia couldn't stand being stared at so intently by Freak. I want to look at you forever, Freak said lovingly, his bright black eyes hiding tenderness. Don't look at me like that. I can't get used to it. Lung Ruoxia's heart was racing. Damn it. What's wrong with me? It's not like no one has looked at me this way before. No, I have to calm down. Let's go back, Freak said when he saw that he had achieved his goal. He knew that he shouldn't force Schwer too much, or she would definitely resist. It was better to stop at the right time. Let's head back, Lung Ruoxia said as she calmed her breathing and let Quill out. When they returned to Elegance Lagoon Pavilion, it was already past lunchtime. They had some food in the restaurant downstairs, and then went straight to the reception room. Grandpa Elder Chiu. You're back. Where did you go? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking curiously. We went to the Thousand Cry Mountain, Lung Ruoxia explained simply. All done. Lung Qingtian knew that Schwer had gone to the Thousand Cry Mountain for the advancement of the two little beasts. Done. There shouldn't be much today, right? Lung Ruoxia asked. Some people from the Beast Trainer Association just came. They wanted to invite you to discuss in detail, Elder Chiu said. Alas, this Beast Trainer Association is also big trouble. There's nothing to talk about. I've already contracted those two spirit beasts, Lung Ruoxia said. It was impossible for her to return them, even if she didn't contract them. Las, the Beast Trainer Association is a tough nut to crack. Elder Chiu reminded her. The people from the Beast Trainer Association were not very strong, but many powerhouses were counting on the Beast Trainer Association to tame spirit beasts for them. So they had to listen to whatever the Beast Trainer Association said. If the Beast Trainer Association used this as a condition, there would probably be many powerhouses looking for trouble with this girl. Elder Chiu, the Beast Trainer Association is unreasonable in this matter. Even if they want to find fault, they can't find fault with me. If they really find trouble with me, then they are bullying me, so there's no need to be afraid. I believe there are still many righteous people in the world, Lung Ruoxia said nonchalantly. Lass, you are still too inexperienced. How can there be so many righteous people in the world? There will only be justice with strength. Which weak person will speak up for you? Elder Chiu said with some concern. To put it bluntly, in this world, the strong were respected, and whoever had a harder fist was justice. Old Lung, why don't you persuade your granddaughter? Aren't you worried? Seeing that he couldn't dissuade Lung Ruoxia, Elder Chiu had to ask Lung Qingtian for help. This child has grown and can longer be controlled by a guardian, Lung Qingtian said indifferently. His precious granddaughter had several divine beasts, and he was a spiritual supremacy with a divine beast. Whoever wanted to come to their death could come. This was something unstoppable. You two are really calm. Looks like I'm old. Elder Chiu said with emotion. Puffed. Lung Ruoxue. And the others couldn't help laughing after hearing what Elder Chiu said. What's so funny? Elder Chiu roared with widened eyes. Chapter 115. We didn't do anything too. Elder Chiu, do you want to break through to spiritual supremacy? Lung Ruoxue changed the topic. She had discussed it with her grandfather, and felt that she could give Elder Chiu a heavenly essence pill. The main reason was that they had been getting along well recently, and this old man was the right-hand man of Principal Lin, who was her brother's master, and her grandfather's good friend. Of course I do. I've wanted to break through for a long time. Elder Chiu looked at Lung Qingtian with envy. He had spent as much time as Lung Qingtian at peak spiritual sovereign. Moreover, the difference between peak spiritual sovereign and spiritual supremacy was like the difference between heaven and earth. Elder Chiu, take this and you can advance. Lung Ruoxue took out a white pill and handed it to Elder Chiu. Really? So magical? Elder Chiu took the pill doubtfully and smelled it. It smells so good. Of course it's true. I ate this to advance, Lung Qingtian said. After hearing this, Elder Chiu immediately threw the pill into his mouth without thinking. But soon, he felt that something was amiss. Oh no, I'm going to advance. Elder Chiu hurriedly sat cross-legged on the ground. You damn old thing. Who asked you to eat it here? Lung Qingtian roared, and set up a barrier to prevent Elder Chiu from being disturbed. Then he retreated outside the reception room with Schwer and the others to guard him. What's wrong? What happened? The commotion caused by Elder Chiu attracted a lot of people, including people from the Rising Dragon Academy, the Flying Bird Academy, and even many families in Lunar Capital. Nothing. Elder Chiu is merely advancing, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. The commotion caused by someone advancing to spiritual supremacy is extraordinary. It actually attracted so many people. Merely advancing, everyone present had a few drops of cold sweat on their foreheads. If they remembered correctly, Elder Chiu should be at peak spiritual sovereign. Wouldn't he be a spiritual supremacy if he advanced? A spiritual supremacy, he would become one of the top powerhouses on the Lingfeng continent. After all, there was no spiritual deity on the Lingfeng continent now. They were so envious. About half an hour later, the heaven and earth laws slowly dissipated. After a while, Elder Chiu emerged from the reception room, looking refreshed and elated. Elder Chiu, congratulations. Congratulations. Everyone present simultaneously congratulated Elder Chiu. Hee, just luck. Elder Chiu said with a smile. He didn't dare to say that he advanced because Ruoxue gave him a small pill. Otherwise, Old Man Lung would eat him alive. Moreover, he was also afraid of causing Ruoxue trouble. How heaven-defying must it be to be able to advance to spiritual supremacy with just a pill? That's because Elder Chiu is lucky. We don't have such luck, Elder Wang said enviously. He also wanted to advance. Boo-hoo. Hee. Elder Wang, don't be anxious. You will have a chance to. Elder Chiu comforted him happily. After Elder Chiu exchanged pleasantries with them, these people gradually dispersed. After sending everyone off, Elder Chiu wiped the sweat off his head. Those people were really too enthusiastic. If he hadn't used tomorrow's competition as an excuse, they would still be reluctant to leave. Elder Chiu, how does it feel to be a celebrity? Fengde asked with a smile when he saw that everyone had left. So tiring. Now he finally knew why the girl liked to keep a low profile. Not just anyone could be a celebrity. Elder Chiu, it's getting late. Let's talk about tomorrow's matches. Lung Ruoxue walked over. Oh right. The finals of the individual competition are tomorrow. Come in. Elder Chiu walked into the reception room first. After Lung Ruoxue and the others entered the reception room and sat down, Elder Chiu specially cleared his throat before speaking. Last, I won't say any words of thanks. If you need my help in the future, just let me know. Chiu Chang looked at Lung Ruoxue gratefully. He really didn't know how to repay such a big favor. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. From tomorrow onward, the finals of the individual competition will officially begin. On each match day, there will be a redraw to decide your opponents. so there is no way to know who you're facing beforehand. But each of you only has 9 opponents in total, so it's best if you have some understanding of each person's characteristics before the start of the finals. Elder Chiu continued very seriously and introduced the situations of the other opponents to them one by one. By the time Elder Chiu finished introducing the opponents, it was almost time for dinner. After dinner, Lung Ruoxue and the others went to bed early. Late at night, Lung Ruoxue was sleeping soundly on the bed with a little white fox sleeping soundly in her arms. A man in black with a cold gaze was standing by her bedside and holding a saber in his hand. The blade was cold and intimidating and contained spiritual power. And under the moonlight, the saber tip left traces of light on the bed. The man in black raised the saber in his hand and slashed at Lung Ruoxue. Suddenly, a white ray of cold light froze the man in black into ice, and the saber in his hand fell to the ground with a clang. "What's the matter, Schwer?" Freak and the others heard the sound and rushed in. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue had already sat up on the bed. Her clothes were neat, and there was no sign of her sleeping at all. "Nothing, just a fly," Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. In fact, she had not been sleeping at all. She happened to be cultivating in the heaven and earth bracelet just now, and later, she sensed that someone was sneaking around, so she cooperated. But she still unexpectedly alarmed Freak, her grandfather, and the others. "Charm, is he dead?" Yichen looked at the man in black, who had frozen into ice. Not yet. He knew what to do. How could he let this person die so easily? "Unfreeze him. I want to interrogate him," Yichen said. "Okay. Let me do it," Lung Ruoxue said lightly. "It's just thawing, isn't it? I can do it too, Master." Charm was speechless as he looked at the block of ice with pity. People who offend Master won't have a good end. Chapter 116. We didn't do anything 3. Lung Ruoxue gathered her fire tribute spiritual power in her hand and waved it at the block of ice. After a few minutes, it melted. The man in black was wet and trembling nonstop. At this moment, the 2 spiritual powers of fire and ice were fighting in the man in black's body, both wanting to obtain the upper hand. Lung Qingtian stepped forward and pulled down the mask on the man in black's face. Then he was stunned. "Grandpa, what's wrong?" Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully after seeing her grandfather's reaction. "Nothing," Lung Qingtian said quickly after coming back to his senses. "How can they be so alike? But no matter how alike they are, a fake is still a fake." "Schwer, what happened?" Lung Ruhan hurried in. "It's okay. Big brother doesn't have to worry," Lung Ruoxue hurriedly comforted. She had actually startled her brother. "That's good." Lung Ruhan turned his head and saw the black-clothed man's face. He couldn't help exclaiming, "Dad." Lung Ruhan's address of Dad attracted everyone's attention. "Big brother, what did you call him?" Lung Ruoxue thought she had heard wrong, but after seeing the others' reactions, she was sure that she hadn't heard wrong. "It's nothing. I saw wrong, but this man resembles Dad," Lung Ruhan explained. "Who are you?" Lung Ruoxue asked the man in black, whose face was alternating between red and white. This man in black was about 40 years old, good-looking, and indeed resembled her brother in some ways. No wonder Big Brother was mistaken. Grandpa must have thought that he was his son just now too. "I'm the one who came to take your life." The man in black looked at Lung Ruoxue with eyes full of hatred. "You? If I'm not mistaken, noble consort Su sent you," Lung Ruoxue said with certainty. Probably no one else other than noble consort Su would command an advanced spiritual sovereign to be an assassin. Moreover, this man resembled her father so much. "No, I don't know any noble consort Su," the man in black denied. "Whether you admit it or not isn't important to me. Since noble consort Su was willing to send you here, I'm sure you're just an unimportant substitute for her," Lung Ruoxue said with some pity. "I'm not a substitute. I'm not a substitute." The man in black roared furiously. "I know no one is willing to be someone else's substitute, but you're doing it willingly. Who can you blame?" Lung Ruoxue continued to provoke him. "I said I'm not a substitute," the man in black yelled, somewhat emotionally unstable. "Grandpa, let him go." Lung Ruoxue knew that she had achieved her goal. "Okay. He believed that Schwer had her reasons for doing so. Leave. On account of you looking so much like my son. I won't kill you this time. But you'll be dead next time. Lung Qingtian added oil to the fire. Schwer, why didn't you kill him? Lung Qingtian asked unpleasantly after the man in black left. In his opinion, directly killing such a person would save a lot of trouble. Because I want to use him to restrain noble consort Su, and let these dogs fight each other, Lung Ruoxua explained. After returning from the last banquet, she had asked her grandfather in detail about what had happened back then. Moreover, she had phoned to investigate it, and learned some relatively secret things. Schwer, are you sure that person is related to noble consort Su? Lung Qingtian asked while suppressing his anger. Su Liana really wants to haunt us. Yes. Noble consort Su doesn't only have people like him by her side. It's just that they don't know of each other's existence, Lung Ruoxua said. She knew that there were a few people by noble consort Zu's side who looked a lot like her father. But if it weren't for her brother calling him dad, she wouldn't have been too sure that this person was related to noble consort Su. After all, she had no impression of the father of this body at all. Schwer, the Su family isn't easy to deal with. We should. Grandpa, don't worry. I don't intend to deal with the Su family now. It's never too late to take revenge. It's been so many years, so we can wait. Lung Ruoxua tried to calm him down. She was not an impulsive person, so she wouldn't do anything unless she was absolutely sure. That's good. Lung Qingtian felt relieved after hearing Schwer's words. Grandpa, go back to your room and sleep. Okay, we're going back. Be careful. Lung Qingtian reminded her worriedly. Okay. Why are you still here? Lung Ruoxua saw that the others had left, but Freak had no intention of leaving. I want to stay behind to protect my fiancé, Freak said matter-of-factly. What a great opportunity to be a hero and save the beauty. Too bad it was the fox who actually got lucky. Alas, he was depressed. I can protect myself. Go back to your room and sleep. She couldn't let Freak stay in her room. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to clear her name even if she jumped into the Yellow River. I don't want to. With that, Freak took out a blanket from his ring, spread it on the ground, and lay directly on it. But he kept muttering in his heart, have pity on me. The ground is very cold. Unfortunately, he had miscalculated. Seeing that she couldn't chase him away, Lung Ruoxua ignored him and laid on the bed in her clothes. She fell asleep in no time. Freak had a sleepless night listening to Schwer's sound breathing. Alas, the plot failed. Lung Ruoxua woke up early the next morning. She turned her head and saw a resentful handsome face. His bright black eyes seemed to be welling with tears, and there were 2 dark circles under his eyes. Upon seeing Freak like this, she was at a loss. What does Freak want? When they walked out of the room, Lung Qingtian and the others, who were already waiting in the corridor, looked at them strangely and ambiguously. It made Lung Ruoxua uncomfortable all over. Grandpa, don't be mistaken. We didn't do anything. She instantly felt regretful. Didn't I just reveal what I wanted to hide? She turned her head and glared at Freak. Chapter 117. We didn't do anything for. I didn't say anything. Freak said cautiously while looking at Lung Ruoxua pitifully. He even glanced at everyone with watery eyes, making it difficult for them not to feel pity. But his heart was overjoyed. Fortunately, we came out late. If we came out earlier, no one would have seen us. Hee. Do you still need to say it? Lung Ruoxua roared angrily. He was obviously deliberately attracting attention, but also pretending to be submissive. Anyone who saw Freak like this would definitely think that she did something to him. Schwer, you've grown up. Grandpa is very open-minded, and you two are engaged. Hee. You don't have to be embarrassed. Lung Qingtian knew that his granddaughter was shy, so he quickly comforted her. But his words only made her angrier. Grandpa, I told you we didn't do anything. Lung Ruoxua stressed. Why doesn't Grandpa believe me? Boo-hoo. Yes. Grandpa knows that you didn't do anything. Grandpa understands, Lung Qingtian said perfunctorily. But Schwer, you have to be responsible for Yi Chen. Lung Qingtian added. Yes, that's right. Yi Chen nodded in agreement. She should have been responsible for me a long time ago. I'm so happy that Grandpa is so sensible. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. She directly grabbed hold of Freak's collar and dragged him back into her room. Immediately after, the room was full of banging sounds. So intense. Can Deputy Leader Yi take it? Fengde murmured curiously. The others had the same thought. Let's leave first. Or else Shuer will be shy again when she comes out. Lung Qingtian said thoughtfully. Yeah. Hide quickly, leave, disperse. With that, everyone quickly dispersed. In the room. Humph. Since they all think I did something, wouldn't it be such a loss if I didn't do anything? With this thought in mind, Lung Ruoxue angrily pushed him onto the bed, threw herself on top of him, and ripped open his clothes. Freak was pinned down by Shuer, and his face was full of anticipation. He kept shouting in his heart, "Come on, take me." But after he waited for a long time, Shuer didn't take any further action. Shuer, Freak called out softly, anticipating. Ah! Lung Ruoxue, who had calmed down, hurriedly stood up when she saw what she was doing. Her face was burning, and her heart was thumping non-stop. Damn it! Why was I so impulsive? I almost fell for Freak's trick. But to be honest, Freak is indeed very attractive, but he's also very troublesome. Shuer, how can you do this to me? Seeing that his plan to entice her had failed again, Freak sat up reluctantly. Why is Shuer so strong-willed? How distressing! Hurry up and fix your clothes. We should go out. Lung Ruoxue said when she saw his disheveled clothes. You were the one who tore my clothes apart. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly and casually adjusted his clothes. Make it look better. You can't go out like this, Lung Ruoxue yelled. If Freak were to go out like this, she wouldn't be able to clear her name no matter what she said. But she didn't know yet that she could no longer clear her name now. Shuer, you're bullying me. Freak accused seriously while adjusting his clothes. When did I bully you? Don't wrong me. Hurry up and go out. They're getting anxious from waiting. Lung Ruoxue said when she saw that Freak had sorted out his clothes. When the two of them walked out of the room for the second time, there was no one in the corridor. Where is everyone? Did they all leave? No, we're still here. At this moment, the people who had been waiting for a long time suddenly emerged from who knows where. Lass, let's go since you're done. Elder Chiu said very considerately with a wretched smile on his face. Young people should be so passionate. Hee, it's good to be young. We didn't do anything, they said in unison. Ah yes, you didn't do anything. Let's go now. Elder Chiu cleverly stopped bringing it up, lest they became shy. By the time everyone arrived at the competition venue, it was already crowded. Elder Chiu brought Lung Ruoxue and the others to the main stage to draw lots. Elder Chiu, you're finally here. We've been waiting for you. Elder Wang of the Rising Dragon Academy said when he saw Elder Chiu. Sorry I'm late. Referee, can we start drawing lots now? Elder Wang asked. Alright, everyone is here. The referee took out the prepared box and placed it in front of them. Soon, all 10 people had their opponents for the first battle. Lung Ruoxue's first opponent was Lin Yuan. Yi Chen's opponent was Yi Xiao from the Rising Dragon Academy. Feng Moran's opponent was Di Fei from the Flying Bird Academy. Hua Qing's opponent was Pang Sun from the Lunar Shadow Academy. And Feng Da's opponent was Mu Li. When it was time for the matches, the referees gave the order, and the battles officially began. In the first match of the individual competition, Feng Da and Mu Li were the first to go on stage. After going on stage, Feng Da chose to admit defeat, and Mu Li won without even fighting. Lung Ruoxue and Lin Yuan were the second to go on stage. After going on stage, Lin Yuan also chose to admit defeat. This way, there were only 3 of the first day's 5 matches left. Hey, what's going on? Why did they admit defeat so quickly? Someone below the stage couldn't help whispering. Is this a strategy of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy? Seeing this scene, the spectators below the stage couldn't help discussing spiritedly. Yi Chen versus Yi Xiao, the referee announced. Yi Chen and Yi Xiao walked onto stage from the 2 sides. Are you from the Yi family? Yi Xiao asked curiously. He had wanted to ask this question for a long time, but he hadn't had the chance. No, Yi Chen said indifferently. Then I won't be polite, Yi Xiao said confidently. If he were a member of the Yi family, he might have shown mercy. Chapter 118. We didn't do anything 5. I don't need you to go easy on me. Let's begin then. Yi Xiao attacked directly, slashing the sword in his hand straight at Yi Chen. He poured water attribute spiritual power into the sword, and sword energy effused out in all directions as he attacked Yi Chen. Yi Chen calmly looked at the spiritual power rushing at him. He gently raised his hand and released dark attribute spiritual power to entangle the water attribute spiritual power flying at him. In mere moments, dark attribute spiritual power absorbed the water attribute spiritual power. What skill is this? Yi Xiao looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. His spiritual power was actually eaten. How is this possible? Below the stage, Lung Ruoxue was also slightly surprised to see the means that Freak used. This should be the first time she saw Freak really make a move. In the past, he only used his fists to directly solve his opponents. My turn. Yi Chen didn't answer him. He immediately threw a punch squarely at the handsome face of Yi Xiao. Soon, the extremely handsome young master had a bruised and swollen head. What was even more pitiful was that Yi Xiao, who had always been regarded as a genius, couldn't fight back at all. Lung Ruoxue's face was full of black lines as she looked at Freak unleashing his might on the stage. Here it comes again. Freak always pretends to be pitiful in front of me, but he's full of violence in front of others. Alas! Two-faced. Do you admit defeat? Yi Chen asked very kindly while beating him. Bullying a member of the Yi family is so enjoyable. After hitting his face, he started hitting other places. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Yi Xiao slurred incoherently as blood kept flowing from the spot where a few teeth had fallen out. Stop! The referee hurriedly shouted when he saw him admit defeat. If this continued, someone might die. Did I win? Yi Chen looked at the referee innocently. You won, the referee said speechlessly. What kind of person is this? Yi Chen walked down from the stage and directly came to Lung Ruoxue's side. Swear I won. Yes, I saw it, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. The match between Feng Moran and Di Fei, and the one Huiqing and Pang Sun, ended with Feng Moran's and Huiqing's victories. In this way, the 5 matches of the first day were over. After the competition ended, Lung Ruoxue and the others returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Over the following 2 days, another 10 individual matches were carried out. Lung Ruoxue, Yi Chen, Feng Moran, Huiqing, and Mu Li won both their matches and were temporarily tied for first place. After the first 3 days of the finals, there would be a 2-day break. Lass, our academy must win the individual competition, Elder Chiu said with a smile in the reception room. The individual competition was the most important competition in the academy competition. Elder Chiu, Pang Sun from the Lunar Shadow Academy lost all 3 of his matches. We should be on our guard against the Lunar Shadow Academy, lest they act desperately, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Pang Sun was the only one left from the Lunar Shadow Academy, and the academy had pinned all its hopes on him. That's true. The Lunar Shadow Academy is notorious for its despicableness. How about this? For the next 2 days, all of you will stay in the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion and don't go out. Even if you must go out, don't go out alone, Elder Chiu said after thinking. Okay. Lung Ruoxue and the others nodded. This was the best they could do for now. After the meeting, Lung Ruoxue returned to her room and entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Big sister. Qing Ju appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue picked up the little toddler. Qing Ju, why don't you grow up? I will naturally grow up when Big Sister unlocks my seal, Qing Ju explained. Ah, who knows how long that will take. Lung Ruoxue was depressed. The heaven-defying art had 9 levels, but she hadn't even broken through the 2nd level yet. This won't do. I need to focus on cultivation after the academy competition ends. Big sister, someone is knocking on the door, Qing Ju reminded. Oh, Lung Ruoxue exited the Heaven and Earth bracelet and opened the door to see Freak standing outside. What's the matter? Lung Ruoxue asked while looking at Freak. Before she returned to her room, she had told them not to disturb her unless it was something important. Huang Fulian is here. Do you want to see him? Yi Chen said with some displeasure. Why is he here? Lung Ruoxua was puzzled, her beautiful face full of doubts. I don't know. Do you want to see him? I'll meet him, Lung Ruoxua said helplessly. Lung Ruoxua left her room and went to the reception room with Freak. Huang Fulian was sitting in the reception room and chatting with her grandfather. Miss Lung. Huang Fulian stood up when he saw her. Your Highness the Crown Prince, please have a seat. What brings you here, Your Highness? Lung Ruoxua asked directly. Don't call me Your Highness. Just call me Huang Fulian. Huang Fulian quickly said, not wanting Lung Ruoxua to be too distant. Okay. Lung Ruoxua didn't decline. Imperial Mother asked me to come, Huang Fulian explained. What did Her Majesty say? Huang Fuyu woke up, but she has already become a fool. Imperial Mother asked me to remind you to be careful. Noble consort Su won't let you go. Huang Fulian explained the reason for his visit to Lung Ruoxua. Thank Her Majesty for her concern on my behalf. I will be careful, Lung Ruoxua said politely. I've finished what I wanted to say. I will take my leave now, Huang Fulian said as he stood up. He really didn't know how to please a girl, and he felt very awkward because of what his mother had urged him before he came here. Grandpa, what do you think? Lung Ruoxua asked after seeing Huang Fulian off. Swear, let's be more vigilant these few days, Lung Qingtian said after some thought. He knew very well how bad Su Lianer was, so he couldn't let her hurt his grandchildren. Oh, by the way, Swear, I think I saw the 7th prince at the competition venue that day, Lung Qingtian suddenly said after remembering. The 7th prince? He's here in lunar capital? No wonder Lung Ruoxua felt that someone was watching her recently. Is it the 7th prince? Chapter 119. Proposing marriage to whom? 1. Grandpa, don't worry about him. He's probably here with Su Nair, Lung Ruoxua guessed after some thought. Okay. Grandpa, I'm going back to my room. All right. The 2-day break passed quickly. On the morning of the 4th day of the individual finals, Lung Ruoxua and the others arrived at the competition venue. After drawing lots, they sat by the edge of the stage and waited. Lung Ruoxua's opponent today was Feng Moran, and her match was the first today. The time for the match came quickly. After the referee gave the order, the two of them walked onto the stage. Referee, I admit defeat, Feng Moran said to the referee as soon as the match began. Are you sure? The referee looked at Feng Moran to confirm. Yes. All right. Lung Ruoxua wins the first match today, the referee announced helplessly. Big brother Feng, what are you doing? Lung Ruoxua asked unpleasantly after they got off the stage. All 4 of her opponents had admitted defeat in all 4 of her matches. Swear, we are self-aware and sensible. How can we be your opponents? In that case, why waste time? Instead of doing this, it's better to preserve our strength to deal with other opponents, Feng Moran explained with a smile. That's right, Mississippi, we're all family, so there's no need to fuss over it. Uniting against the outside is the most important thing, Feng De said as he came forward. Swear, what they said is very reasonable. Freak echoed. Don't tell me you're also planning to admit defeat? Lung Ruoxua asked while looking at Freak. She had always been unclear about Freak's strength, and she really wanted to have a good fight with him. Yes, Swear. You are the head of our family. How can I beat you? You have to show me mercy, Freak said ingratiatingly to Lung Ruoxua. Am the head of the family? Lung Ruoxua asked while staring at Freak. Yes, you are definitely the head. Then will you definitely listen to me? Lung Ruoxua smiled lightly. Of course I will. What if I don't allow you to admit defeat? Lung Ruoxua looked at Freak with unfathomable depth, a trace of cunning flashing in her beautiful eyes. Swear, please show mercy in front of so many people. If you want to use domestic violence against me, you can beat me up when no one is around. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxua pitifully with a pleading face. Lung Ruoxua was at a loss for words. This Freak is bullshitting. When did I start using domestic violence against him? Lung Ruoxua, you relied on your teammates admitting defeat to win so many rounds. What kind of skill is that? Big brother Qing will definitely defeat you. At this moment, Shiminya walked over and spoke with a face full of disdain. Where did this crazy woman come from? So rude. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Ximenya and said indifferently, "Damn it! Who did you say is a crazy woman?" Ximenya roared without any regard for her image. "Calm down. Your beloved big brother Qing definitely doesn't like shrews. Look at Miss Shui. She's much gentler than you." Lung Ruoxue deliberately glanced at Shui Xinran, who was staying tenderly beside Hu Qing, and showed concern for her well-being. Ximenya's schemes were far inferior to Shui Xinran's. She wouldn't be a match for Shui Xinran, even if there were 10 of her. "You, humph." Ximenya glared at Lung Ruoxue, but she looked at Yichen lovingly. Then she walked elegantly back to Hu Qing. "Big brother Qing, Yair will cheer for you." Ximenya's gentle voice sounded not far away. Lung Ruoxue felt her hair stand on end. These women are really good at acting. "Swear you have to cheer for me too," Freak said a little arrogantly. His opponent today was Hu Qing. He would definitely beat the living daylights out of him. "Humph. Anyone who dares covet my woman deserves to die. Yes, you must win today." Lung Ruoxue nodded. "Don't worry. I won't let my future wife down," Freak promised. The next match was Hu Qing versus Yichen. "Swear it's my turn." Freak turned and walked onto the stage. "I want show mercy," Hu Qing said politely. "No one wants you to show mercy," Yichen said impatiently. "There's something wrong with the people from the Rising Dragon Academy. Why do they always say such things before fighting? Then let's begin." Hu Qing didn't want to waste any more time. These students from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy were his greatest enemies this year. "Cut the crap," Yichen said unhappily. He had to hurry up and finish the fight so that he could accompany Shuer. Hearing this, Hu Qing was a little angry and directly used his strongest spiritual skill, Blazing Cloud Mountain. An enormous mass of fire attribute spiritual power pressed down on Yi Chun like a towering mountain. "Amazing! That should be your Hua family's most powerful heavenly spiritual skill," a middle-aged man said to a man of the same age beside him in the VIP seats. "Yes, only geniuses like Qing are qualified to learn this spiritual skill, and ordinary geniuses aren't allowed to use it," the middle-aged man said with a face full of pride. Qing'er was the most outstanding child of their Hua family this generation, and his pride at the same time. "That Yi Chun is also very mysterious. I wonder who will win this battle," another middle-aged man said curiously. "By the way, Brother Yi, isn't Yi Chun from your Yi family?" He turned to the taciturn middle-aged man in black beside him. The man in black pursed his lips tightly and said with a serious expression, "He's from a side branch of our Yi family. This damn bastard from a side branch actually dared to injure my son. Moreover, his talent is higher than my son's. I can't let Yi Chun live, or he might become a threat to my son in the future." The black-clothed man pondered in his heart and already had the desire to kill Yi Chun. The people in the VIP seats were harboring different thoughts. Lung Ruoxue, who was below the stage, watched as the massive fire attribute spiritual power pressed toward Freak. She was also a little worried. She could feel the pressure of the spiritual power below the stage, not to mention Freak on the stage. She didn't know if Freak would be able to deal with it. As she thought about this, her heart couldn't help clenching. Chapter 120. Proposing marriage to whom? 2. On the stage, Yi Chun looked at the spiritual power rushing at him and smiled nonchalantly. He casually released his dark attribute spiritual power, and the fist-sized black spiritual power fearlessly welcomed the fire attribute spiritual power that was more than 100 times larger than it. Soon, the fist-sized black spiritual power was surrounded by the fire attribute spiritual power and disappeared. Isn't this picking a losing battle? What's the point of such tiny spiritual power? That's right. It seems like young Master Hua will definitely win this battle. The audience started discussing again. Hua Qing didn't care about the audience's discussions below the stage at all, because he didn't believe that Yi Chun really only had this little trick. "Don't tell me you only have this little trick. If that's the case, you will disappoint me tremendously," Hua Qing said with full battle intent. Finding a good opponent wasn't easy. "You will know soon." How did that happen?" someone in the audience exclaimed. The fire attribute spiritual power on the stage became smaller and smaller, and the dark attribute spiritual power that was supposed to be devoured slowly became stronger and stronger. Seeing this scene, everyone was speechless. On the first day of the finals, Yi Chun had used this move to defeat the young master of the Yi family. They didn't expect him to use the same move today. What kind of spiritual technique was this? How could it consume spiritual power of any attribute? After the tiny dark attribute spiritual power completed its mission, it immediately returned to its master's side and began circling Yi Chun, as if it was asking for credit for its achievement. Yi Chun stretched out his hand and held the dark attribute spiritual power. After a while, the spiritual power disappeared. Now it's my turn, Yi Chun said lightly. Huaqing had attacked first just now. As soon as Yi Chun finished speaking, a strand of black spiritual power that was thinner than a strand of hair assaulted Huaqing. When the strand of spiritual power reached Huaqing, it coiled around him. Huaqing was stunned and wanted to break free, but he couldn't do it no matter how hard he struggled. Then a fist greeted his handsome face, and even his body wasn't spared. Below the stage, Lung Ruoxua had a few drops of cold sweat hanging on her forehead. What does Freak have against them? He especially aims for the face. Yi Xiao was like this too. Alas, how pitiful. A stunningly beautiful man is going to have a pig's head again. You barbarian, quickly stop. You're not allowed to beat up Big Brother Qing. Watching in the audience, Shui Xinran immediately lost her composure when she saw her beloved getting beaten up. She yelled out without caring about her image. Ximenya was a little stunned to see this situation, but she was not as worked up as Shui Xinran. After all, she wasn't someone who would only marry Huaqing. She only liked the strong, and she would marry whoever was the strongest. The mighty Yi Chun was so masculine now. Referee, did I win? Yi Chun still looked at the referee innocently. Why you won? The referee said weakly. Even though Huaqing didn't admit defeat, he obviously didn't have the strength to fight back. Moreover, the referee was certain that if he didn't announce that Yi Chun won, he would continue hitting Huaqing. Thank you. Yi Chun thanked him politely and walked off the stage calmly. On the other hand, Huaqing was carried down. Big Brother Yi, you're amazing. Ximenya was the first to welcome Yi Chun when she saw him coming down and looked at him like a love-struck fool. Don't call me Big Brother Yi. Get lost. Yi Chun roared impatiently. Then without so much as a glance at Ximenya, he strode directly to Lung Ruoxia's side with a fawning face. Swear I won. Do you have any reward for me? Freak's beautiful face looked at Lung Ruoxia expectantly. What reward do you want? Lung Ruoxia looked at Freak with a spurious smile. Kiss me, Freak said shyly. Okay, close your eyes. Lung Ruoxia agreed generously. Okay. Freak was so excited. Schwer is finally going to kiss me. He closed his eyes obediently. Done kissing. Lung Ruoxia said lightly. Why you're done? Why was it so fast? She only kissed my cheek, and it didn't feel right. It felt fluffy. Schwer, you kissed me too fast. I didn't feel it, Freak said with some dissatisfaction. But his gaze was somewhat suspicious as he looked at the little silver wolf in Lung Ruoxia's arms. When did this little thing run out? Little Feng Feng, kiss him again, Lung Ruoxia said to the little silver wolf in her arms. Big sister. Little Feng Feng's fluffy little face was full of shyness. Whoa. Big sister is so evil. My first kiss was actually given to a male. Schwer, I was kissed by this little thing? Freak asked with a look of horror as his hand kept wiping the place where he was just kissed. Yes, what's the matter? Lung Ruoxia pretended to be confused as she looked at Freak with a puzzled face. Boo-hoo, I wanted you to kiss me. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxia aggrievedly with tears overflowing in his beautiful eyes, threatening to fall at any moment. You didn't say. Lung Ruoxia's expression was very innocent. Then I'll tell you now. Schwer, kiss me now. Freak insisted. No. You said kiss you once already. And it's over now. Lung Ruoxia said resolutely. Schwer, you're too evil. How can you bully me like this? The more he thought about it, the more aggrieved he felt. He simply turned his head and ignored Lung Ruoxia. Hey, Freak. Lung Ruoxia poked his back gently. Who would have thought that not only did Freak ignore her, but his shoulders also kept shaking as if he was crying. Is he really crying in public? Lung Ruoxue had a lot of questions. No, I can't be fooled. Freak loves to act pitiful in front of me. With this in mind, Lung Ruoxue decided to ignore him, lest he took the opportunity to make another request. When the matches for the day ended, they returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion, but Freak still ignored Lung Ruoxue. The 5th day, the 6th day, the competition continued as planned, but from the 4th day until the 6th day of the finals, Freak continued to ignore Lung Ruoxue. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.